Check. You're in tune to the D-side sounds and we lock down in the media. It's all about high-level music for the Y2K vibe. Shouts out to the UK talent. Just keep pressing on and moving forward. Cause UK talent is nearly at its peak, yeah? Don't give up now, it's not long. It's just a matter of time.
Hi everybody, how's it going? I've been looking forward to this. I have been recommended this game by several people at this point, and I'm very curious to see how it is. Very surreal that the devs also chipped in on reposting my Blue Sky post about playing this, so thank you. That's very nice of you guys. I'm very excited. Oh boy, I have had quite the past couple of days. I picked up a DS Lite again. I've been meaning to do that for a while. I got a physical copy of Ace Attorney 3 while I was out there as well. So that's exciting. I've been chipping away at playing the 100 line, which just came out, taking that at my own pace. And that's going better than I thought. But I'll see. Oh, that's so cool, Neon Roses. Yeah, very, very nice of them. But yeah, I don't really have any other life updates to offer, I don't suppose. Other than that, I've been working on a script also, but it's I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with it yet, so it's kind of circling around a little bit at the moment. But anywho, yeah. Let's go ahead and get started with this. So let's start with episode 0. So I know almost nothing about this going in, aside from the fact that it is, in fact, a mystery game. So, go ahead. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise. The city has got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. Actually, by the way, I only just realized that I did not adjust the sound at all beforehand. How does the sound to you guys, like, level-wise? Sorry about that, I completely blanked on that. Game's a little loud. Okay. Cool. Wes. Thank you. I'm excited too. Hold on. Yeah, let me turn it down just a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna put it like right there, and hopefully that'll be better. But just let me know if it is still a little bit too loud. There's no escaping the second-hand nervous energy of it all, but I'm plenty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. Oh. Hello, ma'am? Criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. Besides, because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never unknown, and always online. Whether it's incandescent, or neon, or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen, there's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone is always watching. Lentil with the Canadian $5. I played this last week with my friend and we both loved it. Super excited for you to experience it. I am very excited. Solitude is a rarity. Anonymity is scarce. And criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do, until my phone. Counselor, your public defender contract has been approved. Okay. You're expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. I'll try. With the little heart. Great. I love her already. Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now. 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Because now that I'm here, things are going to get busy. And he shall appear. Oh. Good title. No, I don't want to disable tutorials. I would like to enable tutorials so that I know what I am doing. Ooh. I really like the environments in this so far. Very cool. Precinct 254. It's a goddamn ghost town. With nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Press escape or click the phone icon in the top left to access the pause menu where you can save, load, or check settings. You can toggle auto text with A, or check previous lines with L. You can also look around for points of interest, or press space to find them automatically. Earn credit for investigating anything and everything you can. Credit is both a measure of your information gathering skills and your own credibility. So don't go broke. Okay. An actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum. Though museums tend to feel expensive and clean. Dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department is more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't it dark? Did you know that during traumatic events, memory formation is blah blah blah? Poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel, and all during billable hours. But there's no room to sow doubt anymore, not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording. Assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. Getting some, one thing I want to compliment about this game right off the bat too is that it works its world building into the actual like dialogue or like the narration very well, in a way that doesn't feel like super like exposition heavy, which I appreciate. The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff, and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of these things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken. Entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. Looks like the usual 1-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. But there's a few missing persons, too. 1 year of silver plan coverage, courtesy of Caduceus? As a reward for any... Silver is no joke. Family must be getting desperate. A data pack? I'll buy it. Even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda sort of way. Keep an eye out for articles in the environment. They offer insight on the world around you and credit towards your investigation. Okay. Articles are added to your phone's reading list after you first read them. Choose the proper takeaway after reading them, and you'll earn additional bonus credit too. Okay. Subway fixes axed. City to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreparably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system were being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater damage to sensitive electronic cabling and erosion of key tunnel fixtures were cited as reasons for why 89% of the subway system was evaluated as critically compromised or worse. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super infrastructure system that weaves together trams, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy high above our city streets. Okay. Ballsy of them, putting the paywall there. As if I'd reach for my wallet after having read to a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaway is that the city will be focusing its efforts on... There'll be increased scrutiny surrounding the canopy now that there's no plan B. It's a massive project with a massive budget. Lines the pockets of a lot of people, big and small. None of them would appreciate bad press at the moment, not when Councilman Long's already thoroughly chummed the waters. High traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishing, multiple screening stations. Pragmatic brutalism so textbook it could teach freshman-level architecture. Can almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right angles. The civil planning equivalents of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago that they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing when it was built. Still a little bit loud? Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit more. But walking in here now, with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice ward for heavy-handedness. Alright, I've taken in all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. Oh, hello. It booted up fine. So far, so good.
Good morning.
Oh, okay. Morgan, here for a public defender contract.
Could you please provide your name and... Great! Please stand still for a moment.
I wouldn't call intake hollows charming, more like harmless. But that's probably what the designers were aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their text so long as it never speaks out of turn.
I'm sorry. I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth?
So far, so good, was it? Say, why don't you just scan my ID card?
Great! Now could you just confirm your date of birth for me?
Why did they even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card. And my profile. I'd have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. Well... Can I actually check that real quick? Okay. Date of birth, December 26th. Aw, a nearly Christmas baby. 175 centimeters, AB blood type, criminal defense attorney, likes puzzles, smoking, wooden furniture, dislikes commercials, hairdressers, and jogging. Can fall asleep in any position. That's what I'm talking about! Light decaf coffee and whiskey sour. Okay. That's fun. Let's look at these other things real quick. Okay, yeah, so that's just that. And ooh, okay. Actually, yeah, let's read these real quick. Datapads, a mid-sized portable electronic device for use inside local networks. Lightweight portable electronic devices known as datapads have no significant internal storage capabilities and can only display what it is streamed to them from local networks. Originally marketed as a replacement for ecologically wasteful newspapers, magazines, and flyers. Datapads became infamous for the difficulty and expense involved in recycling them once their limited lifetime components expired. Gee. It wasn't until they were rebranded as ideal for privacy and security that datapads found success in the private and public sectors, where their ability to display location-locked content helped corporations minimize data leaks and give their advertisements targeted geographic relevance. Today, datapads are a mainstay of high-traffic public spaces and virtual physical hybrid workplaces, despite remaining unpopular with most environmentalists and bibliophiles. Zoe with the $5. Enjoy the game. This last has been rotting my brain for days now. I can already feel it happening. Conductive resin, an industrial polymer capable of programmed electrical conduction. Though it outwardly resembles plastic or glass, conductive resin is actually an electromagnetic polymer used in a wide variety of stationary or portable devices, where its unique properties allow it to act as both a display and a processor, enabling ultra-thin or even transparent electronics. There are upwards of 100 different patented varieties of conductive resin, each intended for different use cases, industries, and environments, but they are all fairly lightweight and fragile, except for the small handful formulated for military and security applications. Because of its widespread use in high turnover products such as datapads and smartphones, producers of conductive resin are frequently accused of engineered obsolescence by consumer rights groups, though these claims have never been proven before a court. Screen cracked, schedule a fix here. Oh... I quite like this game. That's all I'll say about that. I quite like this game. Hologram, noun, 3D image formed by light. Enabled by specialized projectors or mediums like conductive resin, holograms are graphic displays that appear three-dimensional to the human eye when viewed from any part of a face range of at least 180 degrees, an effect known as the Watterson illusion phenomenon. Originally patented in late 2059, Watterson's phenomenon was initially used exclusively in the adult entertainment industry. Holograms did not become widely adopted as an advertising tool until the much-maligned Holiday season of 2061, after which laws restricting the presence of holograms in public spaces were passed with uncharacteristically universal support. We're sorry to see that you've installed a subroutine on this device to disable and highlight our recommended premium external links. We understand your drive for personalization, but unauthorized tech impacts our ability to serve you the best, most relevant information possible. Consider disabling your subroutine so we can serve you a more tailored browsing experience. Consider going and fucking yourself is my response to that. Okay. Anywho, let's get back to this. No problem. My birthday's December 26th. December 26th.
Perfect. Good morning, Morgan Counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on this public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to Counseling Quarter 3C.
Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room?
I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect state standards.
Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. Doesn't change the way that it makes a person feel, sitting in a stifled box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection dully warped across gunmetal walls.
Morgan Counselor, can I help you with anything else?
Choices that progress the story and choices that represent side topics will react differently to your mouse. Okay. You can also use keys 1 through 5 on your keyboards to choose dialogue choices from top to bottom. Because of what you read earlier, you've unlocked an additional choice in this dialogue. Read and examine at every opportunity to build up your knowledge and get the most out of every conversation. Okay, that's fun. Why the disrepair? I know the city's not terribly concerned with the lower wards, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty?
This facility is currently undergoing renovations.
Since when? The 60s?
It has been 22 months since the timetable was last updated.
They really don't see a lot of action around here, do they?
I'm sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered.
I'm adaptable. What about you? They ever gonna fix that crack?
Thank you for asking. It has not interfered with my work.
Well, that's all that matters, right? What are you?
I'm a smart user interface, proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. If you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages?
No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. That'll be all. Thank you.
You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office, through the door to your right.
Thanks. But I think it's just me for now. So, you could go on break if you like.
Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan Counselor.
Then what were you doing before I walked in?
You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office.
Through the door to the right, thank you. Ads don't get breaks, and they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyway. Faint voice. Okay. I don't know who this is yet, but we'll see. Eyes gone bad or something? A voice. No, voices coming from down the hall. Oh, actually, let's put another filter to use real quick. Compared to yours? Probably. Thank God I stopped for directions. A building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. Appreciate it.
Curious.
while the other rings with youthful indignation.
Not like our job is important or anything.
Definitely cops. And at this precinct, at this hour, they might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex.
Why else would you bother to print all that out? One document of 100 looks the same on a data pad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file in hand. Makes them think you know them better than the police, their mother, their big brother. Wasn't gonna say that. So how many of those sheets were blank then?
Okay. Now I can actually get a look at the characters to judge a perspective voice by. No red carpet tonight, officers?
Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. We don't keep many extra hands around at these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway.
But mostly cheaper. You the lawyer? I am. Morgan, Esquire. Pleased to meet you.
Same here, counselor.
Is that Kasim? Kasim London.
And the ball of sunshine here is my partner, Farrah Reyes.
Ball of sunshine? She certainly is.
Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night.
It's no trouble. Gave me time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco? What are you, 80? She can't be more than a few years younger than me.
We're, the detectives in charge of this particular case. And it looks like tonight we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologies in advance for any cobwebs.
Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouses before. He never struck me as more than some old-timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession. Sunshine is definitely a new face, though. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe? 2 whole detectives working at these hours? Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene.
No, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms responded to the emergency calls within a few minutes.
Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion. Look around. You think we're the first to arrive for anything?
She's not wrong. We were only tapped after circumstances at the scene and indicated involvement with an ongoing investigation.
Our ongoing investigation. Not very subtle, is she? But I may as well bite at this point. So, you suspect that this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity?
Wait, did they really not? No, I guess they wouldn't put it in a public defender's briefing. Look, consider this a little professional courtesy. A fair warning, yeah? That's the heartbreak killer in that room.
And we've got the bastard dead to rights. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass this shitstorm onto some other night owl and go back to bed. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. So perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak killer. What? They cover utilities at the rock you live under? Is there a problem?
You're seriously not familiar with HK?
Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. That name has been plastered all over the city for weeks, their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, in the media, on the net, everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. But right now I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. And when it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender? Was it the killer part that tipped you off?
You must have at least heard about his MO. Media's gone crazy with it.
Along with everyone else.
One bullet straight through the heart. Body left to lie where it falls.
Hence the name Heartbreak? Not exactly creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality.
What you won't read about online is that all 6 of HK's victims were shot by the same gun, without even needing to reload.
Horrible to say, I know.
That's 6 for 6. That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Hitting the bullseye at the shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that, it's a whole different beast. Takes a certain kind of monster, a real freak. His pulse probably didn't even rise. I see. I'll just go with that. That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. How I managed to miss 6 murders. Well, you can only blame yourself for missing 5. Pardon? You're still not getting it? HK's 6th victim was found a few hours ago, when we caught the son of a bitch red-handed. So you've convinced that my client is this heartbreak killer, and tonight was just his latest crime. That's a serious accusation, with very serious consequences. I take it you have serious evidence to back that up? I was being literal, counselor. Red-handed. When we found your client, he was covered in her blood. Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds compelling. Is that lawyer talk for open and shut? But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? It's all in the discovery files. And the ARCs, of course. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn over everything you need.
I'll bet. Actually, let's look at these real quick. Also, let's look at their... Ooh, interesting art here. Quite like that. Occupation criminal, likes killing, dislikes getting caught. Me when I'm a criminal and my likes are killing and my dislikes are getting caught. Oh, Jesus. Oh, that's really funny. Rice Lime's automotive history. Liars, small plates, and cheap people. Watching product reviews. Interesting. Okay. Oh, what's that about her eye? Interesting. Okay. Tarper 2 dive bars, bangs, tires, pollen, after hours work messages, listens to podcasts. Interesting, okay. Cool. Okay. ARCS, Augmented Reality Crime Scene. Augmented Reality Crime Scene, abbreviated as ARCS, is an investigative tool in which data harvested by the sensors worn on first responders is used to reconstruct a digital copy of a pristine crime scene. Programmed and distributed by a small number of tech corporations and frequently modified or even personalized by local municipalities, ARC systems are used by every major police force, most insurance investigators, and many law firms. After its introduction in the early 2060s, the technology briefly came under public scrutiny when the independent news organization United Mediacasters released a series of reports claiming the ARC's data was regularly edited by corrupt officials. That was literally my first guess that like somebody would do with that. It was regularly edited by corrupt officials to erase state secrets. These reports were later found to be fake, and the UMC was exposed as a subsidiary of a cell corporation within Lambda Work Solutions, who are marketing a number of alternatives to ARC's technology at the time. Interesting. Board members at Lambda denounced the actions of said cell and offered assistance to their former competitors in suing leadership at UMC, but the proceedings and settlements in those lawsuits remain sealed. Okay. Automated Dependent. Legal designation for any intelligent electronic entity. Abbreviated as AD and referred to in common conversation as ad or ads. Or is that a... yeah, ad. I would assume ads. Automated Dependent is a catch-all term encompassing robots, intelligence programs, interactive, or ADs, rather. I don't know. Interactive holograms and androids. As are present both digitally and physically in every industry, and nation on the planet, assisting in everything from data management to physical labor. In the mid-21st century, lobbyists pushed through new tax classifications to define intelligent machines that were neither salaried employees nor mere equipment. Because it afforded tax breaks and lighter tariffs, the term became so commonly used that it spread to all branches of the robotics industry, from which point it began to penetrate into everyday speech and pop culture. Some sociologists argue that the term owes its popularity not simply to its brevity and prevalence, but to its ability to draw a distinction between the commonplace robots, androids, smart UIs, etc., and the internationally illegal artificial intelligences. Interesting. Search for this term may incur an account flag. Huh. Okay. Thanks for that, Detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same, could I ask you two some questions while I've got you here? Now, what kind of attorney wants to interrogate the detectives? This kind of attorney. You're just that pleasant.
Come on, Sunshine. Now we're gonna be punching out anytime soon, right?
Whatever. Let your client stew an interrogation all night for all I care. You mean the counseling quarters?
We're at your disposal, counselor.
Latest Noble androids receive warm welcome. Bolstered by a strong earnings report and surging sales of the Animate 16, Noble Electronics stock rose a stunning 3% this week to a new record high. While Noble's latest iteration has yet to surpass the sheer popularity of its predecessors, an increased profit margin has left Noble shareholders very enthused. Many investors were skeptical when, at their now infamous 2084 trade convention, Noble announced that a 16th line would be the first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic components. So-called warm android, which at the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and childcare sectors, were looked down upon as impractical due to increased maintenance costs, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the like. And while some critics have voiced concerns that this fringe religious or traditionalist groups might find warm androids controversial, more business-focused minds feared the Noble was alienating its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian customers, users that viewed their androids from across the room and not from above the factory floor. However, as has often been the case in the last decade, Noble's doubters were proven wrong. I wonder if this reporting is coming from a particular point of view. JunePop45 with the $5. Skipper voice, well, we did it, boys. AI pros are no more. Oh my god. The penguins of Madagascar bust through the wall. Anyway, the Animate 16 is poised to break profitability records with no signs of slowing down, and many industry analysts predict that these once rare organic androids will completely replace their more robotic predecessors in daily life within the next 3 to 5 years. As described in the earnings report, much of the 16th line's success, and indeed the success of Noble's androids in general, can be attributed to the remarkable lifelike personable charms of their products, and all accounts that charm can be attributed to the work of Noble's famed lead programmer, Dr. David Asher. Or Asher. One of the two. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century, said Noble brand ambassador Lucy Dees on stage at their latest Noble Industry Weekend. It's because of his Turing solution that every Noble product, from the sleekest assistants to the most advanced intensive care technicians, are so beloved and trusted by our customers. While his reputation was on full display at the event, okay, it's Asher. Dr. Asher himself was nowhere to be seen. He's always been reclusive, but he's become a genuine hermit in recent years. Are we really to believe he's still... Hey fam, looks like you're not logged into this device. Want to put in your account info so we can help you keep reading? Why? Okay. He's in the news again. It's no wonder. Can't spit without it landing on a piece of Noble tech these days. Especially not where the state is involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids, though. For government use, they're just... I mean... I don't know, they... frail, I guess? Yeah. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to their cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Ray assistants. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mode of personalization. She's so new that she hasn't had time to unpack, or is she really that uptight and boring? Both, maybe. Okay. So, yeah. Guess... Oh, okay, so I can't click on those two. Gotcha. Loose wires, missing panels, and an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt-tightening at Homicide, but I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. They've got a stunning clearance rate and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy, well, with our dear doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork. But if your wheels don't squeak, you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget. The dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system, or even just a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily, alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned, or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper, I'll give him that. Okay, nothing else jumps out at me around here. I've got a better idea of who I'm dealing with, at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. I should have been sent a link. Thoughts on the game so far? I think it's really cool. I really, really like its overall aesthetic. Its writing style is really good. The UI is very sleek and stylish. Just feels nice to click around. Yeah, it's really, really good. You've been granted access to state files regarding case KL4-33511. Reply C to confirm. Confirm. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I'm an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preferences. Says the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. C. It's case sensitive. C! Thank you. Alright, if I project from my phone... Ooh. Okay. Oh, this is cool. I really like how this looks. Alright, let's see what the police have, and what they think is important. A stand-up mirror, shattered and knocked over. Real glass, no screens or cameras here. It was hit hard enough to come unattached from its arm, while shards of glass were scattered, far enough to land on the victim's body. What a mess. The victim's body. Cause of death, ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta, single gunshot wound to the heart. In brief, death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, and no blood or skin under her nail. Blood splatter, forensics, and all that other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. Okay. The murder weapon. A revolver found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police, the murder weapon, right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. Seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point, and yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. That's all the big ticket items. What about the security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighborhood like this. No signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? Connor Thompson with the $2. Love your Ace Attorney content. Thank you. There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris. Flag is irrelevant. That's their technical assessment. Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Okay. That's everything the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? Yeah, let me look a little bit more. The hell is that? Ooh. I really like that little cut-in. Something in the victim's hand? How the hell did... It's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and Treprexisone, a synthetic glucocorticoid medication taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. The autopsy said her tox screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and it still wouldn't change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Everything else here is all very incriminating, but the kicker is everything that's not here. No out-of-place DNA, footprints, crumbs. Nothing that points towards anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less before, but not much more. I'm really gonna have to sing for my supper this time. Better get started. Who the hell is messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is... I suppose it could be something important. Who? With Brat? Red. What couldn't wait until morning? Good news, of course. Got a job for you. That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole. Lol, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and a phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. Not that kind of lawyer, sorry. Hey, at least let me finish. What did they do? Make me run laps? Not illegal. Let me finish! They made me run laps, even though I said I had a stomach ache. Sad. Gotta be like youth endangerment, depraved indifference, or some kind of shit. Sounds like you've already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. Is that your mugshot? I wasn't not gonna get a copy of my mugshot and use it as a reaction. Glad you found a use case. But I'm working right now, so... Anything cool? Homicide. Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it HBK? Is that the kind of morbid thing your kids your age talk about? Teens my age? And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines. Old-fashioned murder like Cardi B is like... quaint. It's not heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job, lol? You see the 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? You taking up a lost cause, probe knows work? It's pro bono. That was autocorrect. You know they give lit homework for a reason, right? This is borderline concerned nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Or just a sucker. I'm not a sucker. Nice phrasing, lol. You should go to bed, friend. Tomorrow's Sunday. I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday. What's with the Carpe Diem shit? It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. You've got school in like 3 hours. Shit! Repeat offenders may be good for business, but that kid is bad for my blood pressure. Important text message, I take it? Just your typical teenage drama. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. Alright, let's just, well, actually, let's start with this and then work our way down. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? Thought there'd at least be a few androids around.
Aren't many androids in any police station this week. Not while the brass is renegotiating contracts.
Contracts with Noble?
Good guess.
Hardly. They're the biggest. Hardly. They're the biggest robotic corp there is. Could spend all day in Center City without leaving their office's shadow. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here.
Saves us some money on shipping at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month.
Even with Noble pushing those warm androids? Warm. Ugh. Might as well call it the adult line.
Might see him in bigger departments or out on patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet.
Yeah? Really? Yeah? You think that'll happen?
We already use ads for patrolling, securing the scene, pacifying crowds. Doesn't seem like that big of a stretch to me.
You're joking, right? Android detectives? With all the pain we get through getting witnesses to talk to us? With your warm personality? Your warm personality. With your warm personality? I can't imagine. Cop knocks on your door, starts asking questions. You're gonna be put in a bad mood. An ad knocks on your door, calls you a degenerate criminal in a synthesized voice loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. You're gonna start posting shit that'll get you put on a list.
Well, we certainly don't want that. But flesh and blood witnesses are becoming less and less common anyway. Cameras, sensors, satellites. We already get all our facts from machines. Give it a few more years, it might make sense to let machines do the investigating too.
The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen. She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. God damn! I am getting such a morbid picture from all of this. Okay. Details. So, how about the basics? Atropos with the $5. Would you still love me if I had the personality of a worm? I'm just thinking of the art that was submitted for the last Higurashi stream with like Rena like, yes, of course, I would love you if you were a work. Keiichi, ew, no. So, how about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with?
Your client, Carlos Baker. Baker? Or is it Backer?
I'm just gonna say Bacher. I don't know.
Carlos Bacher Flat was arrested on the scene at 9:50 p.m.
Using his middle name already? They really do think he's a serial killer.
The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, Miss Diane Dawn.
First degree? That's
increasingly rare.
to say the least. It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. City's got near more cameras than people, so you gotta be really, really stupid to try to get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times, so what's that make him? 5 times, and that makes him insane.
I was gonna go with extraordinary.
Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nutjobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So what makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? A warm-up?
5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing.
So this serial killer chose his victim at random? They have nothing in common. Yeah, nothing in common at all. Other than that they all look like cousins.
The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women with brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight.
Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be a coincidence? If you really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You're really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance? A young woman, brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is from the portrait, but I can take the hint. So you think what exactly? That Carlos Flat wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first? Hey, if the shoe fits. If the shoe fits. Then you put the shoe on the...
What Sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences.
Drifters, loners, strangers, workers.
He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by first practicing on these other similar women.
Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore. It's not the worst theory in the world, but it doesn't fit. They want to claim that those previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. But if that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal, execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile, if you ask me. What was that? what was that? I saw the time of death was 9 p.m. on the autopsy, but do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events? Can't really trust much of what comes out of his mouth. But we've managed, thanks to less biased sources.
And we're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements.
So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another starting around 8 p.m. Oh, the eye! Very cool. Dimly Pyro with the €6. Super excited to see this game here. It's peak, and I love seeing it get more notoriety. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far, honestly. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us about the happy couple's domestic problems.
Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks.
As you probably gathered from what you saw in the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered, but things go quiet sometime before 9 p.m. And then there's a gunshot.
Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. But we heard from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Well, I'm actually gonna go ahead and look at the new stuff real quick. Okay, no picture for Carlos yet, really. Got the evidence tab now. Latest noble androids receive warm welcome. Okay, yeah, it's that. We got the victim, Diane Dawn, 27-year-old agricultural genetics researcher for Peregrine Laboratories. Found shot through the heart in the bedroom of the apartment she shares with prime suspect Carlos Flat. No known connections with previous victims. Nick's Castellan with the $5. Hope you have fun with Up the Devil. Gotta hop out, but I'll watch the VOD later. I'm really enjoying this game myself. Thank you! Let's see Yep. Cases clasps are surprisingly difficult to open. Interesting note to make. Okay. Okay. Flat's left-hand fingerprints on it. Hold up. 1 second. Okay. Doesn't say anything about his dominant hand, but thing to keep in mind. Time of death 9 p.m. Cause of death ballistic trauma. Class blood loss. Single bullet pierce. Sermon. Audio. Death loss instantaneous. Some writing at the bottom of the scan document. Team handiwork is previous 5 lab. Message to confirm ballistics match to. And then, yeah, let's look at these new terms real quick. Net scrubbing, the process of macro scraping all unencrypted data in a given time and place. First to the process of scouring all available data posted on the net within a certain time frame and location range for evidence of crime, an increasingly common technique for police departments, corporate investigators, and occasionally public relations firms. While the brute force work is performed by automated dependents, either digital or physical, experienced human supervisors must establish strict search constraints in order to produce usable results. Interest in the practice spiked when Senator Bancroft positioned it as a key pillar of his party's law and order platform. Pollings indicated voters rarely held a strong opinion on the process, and topic has since faded from political discourse. Digital autopsy, post-mortem examination of an individual's electronic footprint. The law enforcement process of locating, bypassing authentication on, and investigating all of a deceased individuals' online profiles, commonly used to seek out possible connections to suspects or other victims. The widely utilized practice has been scrutinized in the past by some privacy advocates, but many victims' families who lack the ability to find, let alone access, all of their deceased loved ones' accounts argue for its necessity. Comparable processes are offered as a paid service by some legal or funerary groups to help next of kin recover or delete sensitive personal data. At times, these services have been marketed as a defense against data criminals attempting to steal the identities of the dead before their accounts are wiped by state processes. Users also frequently search for grave cobbling, how to stop stolen identity, how to delete dead profile. IoT, Internet of Things. Internet of Things refers to the networked data sharing that goes on between all countless electronics that we monitor ourselves with. Phones, computers, security systems, biofeedback devices, body modifications and prosthetics, and of course automated dependents all comprise small but vital parts of this network. Without IoT's ability to collect, process, and share information, massive opportunity costs build up as individuals, governments, and private businesses miss out on the valuable insight that data has to offer. One of the coolest ways that IoT improves our lives is through the usage of crumbs, small packets of data containing your own unique identifying information. Throughout your day, as your own IoT devices say hi to other devices, they'll leave behind crumbs as a parting gift. Crumbs allow for paperless identification and payment, and help the government manage human and vehicular traffic. Crumbs let you see where you've been so you can see where you should go. Want to start leaving crumbs right away? Don't worry, crumbs are enabled by default. Not interested in sponsored search results? Search further with a premium account. Interesting. I have to say, I really do like not only how this game like works, sort of like its world building into casual dialogue, but also I really like the fact that it does sort of like keep a more in-depth encyclopedia of sort of like world detail things that wouldn't otherwise like fit to just like kind of casually stop a conversation and just drop all of that in the middle of. I think it's a really like interesting way to flesh out the world while still making it like a thing that somebody can chew on at their own pace without just, again, like just stopping the story dead to explain like 500 different terms. It's very neat.
Right. Emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9 p.m. No one seemed to recognize the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming.
Officers arrived at the street at 9:08 p.m., establish a perimeter, enter through the open front door at 9:10 p.m., and then they find your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. At which point they move to secure the scene and the suspect. Sorry, did you say his hand, singular?
Your client's modded cybernetic right arm.
But it was his left-hand prints.
How modded are we talking about here? Registered with the HAL 85 habilis. Industrial grade, looks like. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 KPA, which means a minimum grip strength of, well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Considering a career change? No, it's not that, it's just, your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of fashion. You think a cop would cover up her dominant eye because it was fashionable?
I actually thought the same thing the first time we met.
You what?
But getting back on track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. He can't work without it. Money got tight.
The arguing?
Yeah.
When did he put his arm in for repairs?
8 days before HK's first victim was killed.
Well, no chance they'll be willing to chalk that up to coincidence.
Your client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver, and no one else's.
A revolver? What kind?
The old kind. The real old kind.
More specifically, Calver M54, 6-chambered, 10 millimeters. Calver. How retro.
You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags.
No tags? How is that? Just how old are we talking here?
Yeah, 24/7 location data, time-stamped trigger pulse, safety coded to owner biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags have made shooting crimes very unambiguous.
So you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes? How else do you think he'd gotten away with this 5 other times?
I really love how Morgan calls Reyes a Chunibyo. Literally. That's what I was just thinking. That fucking black butler-esque fashion. Okay, yeah, let's look at the new stuff real quick. That's pretty certain. No matches to other any forensic data archived as far back as 2051. Okay. Okay. Taken into custody. Take my lab pics for additional analysis, but initial tests show blood on the left sleeve matches that of the victim. Okay. Calver Firearms Inc., manufacturer of civilian firearms from 2031 to 2062, when it was brought out by Thortec, an acquisitions group specializing in security and national defense, now a subsidiary of the Lockheed Defense Corporation. Though no guns have borne the Calver branding since production halted in 2060, the once iconic brand was briefly revived in 2071 Q2 with a series of video game memorabilia tie-in promotions meant to increase in-game item sales before being discontinued in 2071 Q3 for failing to increase in-game item sales. My god. Oh, Jesus. The fucking microtransactions for a fucking gun brand. That's crazy, dog. Mods, body modifications, yeah. Is a term that may refer to cybernetic prosthetics, artificial implants, neural enhancements, or any combinations of the above. While body modifications have been seen throughout history and across a wide range of cultures, the modern body modification movement is differentiated by a shift from intrinsic factors, expression, or identity to extrinsic motivators, job opportunities, technological benefits, improvements in physical or mental ability. Historically, mods have been classified based on which section of the user's spinal cord the interfacing occurs at, thoracic, lumbar, cervical, but this system does not account for mods which interact directly with the human brain. The increased prevalence of so-called above-the-neck modding in recent years has led to several corporations and medical organizations proposing their own new classification systems, but so far none have gained much traction. You return mods, can you undo mod surgery, best reviewed neural implants 2086. Damn. Okay. Interesting. Did kind of want a P90 after Gun Gale aired. Fair.
If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably fail the very first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in. So then, M54, that's
Model year 2054.
the 30-year-old gun. Well, that sure complicates things, doesn't it?
In some ways, sure. But pre-tagging firearms are rare. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still compatible bullets.
The ammunition would have to be over 30 years old, too.
The novelty of this weapon has kept us in the dark so far. But now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put them away for good.
Archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig. But with the protocols they found, the techs were able to match the rifling marks in all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Rifling marks?
Bullets fired from the guns that are old are marked by the barrel shape.
So if all 6 bullets had the same rifling marks, we know that they were all fired by the same gun.
It's not as plug-and-play as tags are, but it's equally precise science, I assure you. And if that's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber.
Without even needing to reload.
The Calver your client was found with is the gun HK used to kill 6 women. Now wait a lawyer around that.
An untagged gun. Just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize then, you believe that my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend. And then he retrieved this weapon and shot her? Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his effect? Quiet. Detached. Stiff.
Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner.
That reaction must have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. And so long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. Checking my phone here, and I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK's crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story. Hey there, it looks like you're trying to search for a term related to an ongoing investigation. Until authorities have made their findings public, results may be heavily curated or temporarily unavailable. Damn. The fact that they can just do that is... Whoo-hoo-hoo! Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read.
It's not just journalists, though. All kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK's managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks.
Can you blame them, though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gotten away with. We know what he's gotten away with. Take a look around us, Detective. National DNA Registry is robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen, violent crime at an all-time low and clearance rates at all-time highs. But, you gonna spout some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along...
Good point.
London's trying to look like you can laugh it off. The pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged, and that makes them predictable. Yeah, well, even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details.
That way when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get.
But we can't take all the credit this time around. Homicide's tight-knit and tight-lipped, but it's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place. And why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. The opt-in crime surveillance system, abbreviated as OPTICS, is a partnership program between the state and private enterprises that allows for free sharing of surveillance and security data to better promote and preserve public safety. Accessible through state employee logins or private partner accounts, OPTICS Smart UI allows users to search through and collate footage from a city of tens of millions in just a few simple keystrokes. OPTICS is frequently cited in state reports as one of the most effective tools for reducing crime, and footage from OPTICS often serves as key evidence in criminal proceedings, where it is considered admissible by default. Say People versus Irwan. Users also frequently search for public safety measures in my area and daily security level. How is that even possible? I know that there are some rough areas in the lower wards, but OPTICS is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You think we'd have let him kill 6 people if we did?
I understand your concern, ma'am, but OPTICS is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance system signing up to feed into the state security network.
Care Bear and Ross of the $10. I want you to know this came up on my YouTube and I'm just so excited. By the way, you've clearly been at it a bit, but I highly recommend voicing Morgan using Ava as a reference point. I love her snark. Fair enough suggestion. But I'm pretty happy with where I think I've got the voice right now. But thank you.
It's not perfect. Just another one of the many public safety tools in our belt.
It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to help us solve crimes. Or at least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Bad chance. Deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything vague as the consequences of their actions.
It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved. But the end result is that there are occasional localized blackouts, and the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict.
I see. But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You'd need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. So does he work construction for the city?
HK has only ever struck at times and locations where OPTICS would be down. Even with the devil's own luck, can't possibly be coincidence.
Wait, so you're saying when this woman was killed? Yeah, there was a blackout from around 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock tonight. Right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match?
There's been no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA at any of the crime scenes.
No footage and no forensics?
Also no motives, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon.
Until now. Finally a lucky break for the boys in blue.
Scanners, cams, drones, forensics. No matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK is the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. Only reason we even caught him tonight was because he finished what he had set out to do all along.
So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects.
We questioned some X's, a few CIs, someone even spoke to one or two unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was a talk about starting some kind of psyche eval or something, but I never expected much to come of that. There's just not enough there to work with.
In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have, to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? Hey, it's only our job to catch the bastard. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Besides, we're not exactly going to have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt. And why is that? Because we found a handwritten confession at his desk. Well, that's, unexpected. I'm sorry, you're now telling me that he wrote a confession? Has it been verified?
Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get to the front of that line.
Why bother? The note is covered in his fingerprints.
There's a copy in the discovery data, but I should warn you, it doesn't exactly make for light reading.
I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself.
Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. I'm not in control. I hurt people without meaning to. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first, but I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too, but didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough, I know that now. I'll take responsibility and do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me.
That was difficult to read. Barely legible, in fact. Well, got a spin on that? Yeah, let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, okay, it's just the text. No need. But it's a confession. Not a confession that he signed, though, is it?
Not yet.
And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he asked for representation. Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer. And got you. Guess you're both lucky. Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. But I'm not so flush with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he?
Look, counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to that man being responsible for 6 murders. 2 hours or so in cuffs isn't cruel or unusual. And that's for your safety as well.
Kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger. He's killed 6 women. None of them were redheads. Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off if you don't mind.
Mic's on or off is your call, counselor. But we'll be watching the feed from right outside in case anything happens. And the cuff, that is, stays on.
That worried about me? How chivalrous.
Yeah, my armor is practically blinding.
Gross. I'll start at the unlock cycle.
Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I'd suggest you help him sign that confession.
Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way, but the defense part of defense attorney isn't just for show, detective.
I mean it. 6 people dead is one thing, but he's also caused weeks of widespread terror and public unrest. Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. That's a capital crime if there ever was one. And even if the death penalty's not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not gonna like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person, and it's
Being challenged before the Supreme Court.
yeah, sometime in the next decade, maybe.
Hey there. Due to ongoing controversy following the suspected suicide of inmate Jay Galley, search results for this term are temporarily blocked. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright.
Just remember, a plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client, right?
Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty. That much is true. It saves the courts a great deal of time and money, and when they show their gratitude with reduced sentencing. But no one will ever be grateful towards the heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life.
Okay, so yeah, 2086.
It's depressing as hell in here. They need to liven this place up. Carlos flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. We've got a lot to cover, but this shouldn't take all night.
What are you... Look, I already told you people I didn't...
I'm not a cop, Carlos. Furthest thing from it. I'm a lawyer. Your lawyer, in fact. And I'm here to help you.
Yeah, well, they said that too. All of them did. Back there, in here, kept repeating it the whole ride over. They said that they were gonna help me, that they knew this was all a mistake. Then they said that I killed. Acting like they were on my side, and they thought that I could've...
It's not their job to help you, Carlos. But it is mine. And I'm here now. He's still in shock. I need more information, but if I approach this the wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak. But I'd like you to try and answer a few questions.
The police already...
Questioned you, I'm sure. But they were treating you as a suspect, not as a client.
Okay. So what do you want to know?
Let's start simple. Something mundane. Grounded road. I'd like to know a bit more about you first, Carlos. Something like... What line of work are you in?
I'm with City Engineering. Or I was, or I should be.
As I thought. The police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackout using data he stole from work.
My arm, I got it slotted for the job. And,
Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. So, what do I know? He works in city engineering, not a desk job. Reyes said he was modded for work, and that arm must be in custody at the moment. But based on his shoulder, it'd have to be pretty.
I mean, it's pretty utilitarian, I would say.
Utilitarian, yeah. He doesn't strike me as the type who is enamored with the aesthetics of modding. The young and the restless and the rich, swapping in neon and chrome limbs because they like the way it looks, or the way it makes other people start looking at them. No, he's pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod.
really?
Really? I don't even have a brother. He had everything planned out. A whole career path of promotions and bonuses and upgrades they'd afford him. Then came his 18th birthday present. Test results politely informing him that he was not a viable candidate.
That sucks.
I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like he was glad that he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think it does. I always figured if I'd start at all, I'd start small. Hand or an eye, test the water. Never thought about lobbing my whole damn arm off, but the recruiter was enthusiastic. He said because of the NCDA, there was a financial aid and resources. Of course, that got shit canned, so now me and every other modder's royally screwed. Couldn't even let me keep the tax credit.
The new Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed. But I doubt he'd appreciate the distinction at the moment.
I work the tighter spaces, the high-volt environments, mostly canopy upkeep. Typical stuff for modders, you know.
He's speaking freely now. Don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep him talking. But the right choice here, or there, can still make a difference. You work on the canopy? You must be
Under a lot of pressure.
You must be under a lot of pressure now that the subways are cordoned off.
Damn straight. And this crap with Long? Once word got out that the case against him was real, every desk job in the chain became terrified of their own shadow. All of them convinced that internal affairs is going to come knocking if they misplace so much as a paperclip. Everything by the book means no room for compromise, no room for problem solving.
No room for engineering?
Yeah, and no patience for screw-ups.
He's trying very hard not to look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos?
Yeah, that. Rejection issues, starting last month. A lot of sleepless nights.
Rejection? Did the therapy not take?
I think I have a generally good idea of what this is gonna, The process of adjusting the human mind and body for the unique challenges and stressors that come with cybernetic body modifications typically includes physical therapy, mental technique instruction, and sensitivity training. Depending on an individual's viability or lack thereof, medications and even minor viral tuning may be employed to modify the body's immune responses, but improvements made in recent years as medically sterile alloys have greatly reduced the percentage of the patients that require such treatment. Okay, interesting.
It's not like that. I wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything.
Then do these rejection issues have anything to do with your scars?
Not in the way you're thinking.
Hmm?
I'm right-handed.
So the cuts on his face are just from shaving?
Never thought this would go on for so long that I'd have to relearn how to do everything. I mean, the problem started small, trembling, but then spasms. Just oversensitivity, they said, an easy fix.
But the problem got bigger?
Couldn't let it get that far. Need to be able to trust your own hands when you're on the job site. Drop a cutter at the wrong moment and people could get hurt. So I sat down, made an appointment, turned in my own, and watched my case get placed at the back of the damn line.
Where did you turn it in?
Some mass turnaround chop shop with a waiting list like you wouldn't.
It doesn't sound like you're a happy customer.
Hell no. I found a dozen other clinics with shorter wait times, but as long as I'm renting and not owning.
The manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance.
That's why I'm sitting here with this expensive-ass stump for a shoulder. Haven't been able to work in weeks. Bosses were generous enough to say my position might still be there when I've got two working arms again.
Couldn't buy or rent a replacement yourself just in the meantime?
I serve at the pleasure of the state. They've got exclusivity contracts with Hindi, all locked up white-knuckle tight.
Hindi? How Industries? As I recall, he's registered with one of their Habilis models.
Let's see. Hindi. How Industries is the world leader in the research, development, manufacturing, and fitting of cybernetic prosthetics for commercial and private use. And we're hiring! We're seeking motivated and passionate archivists, programmers, salespeople, and college graduates with degrees in digital archaeology, cybernetic anatomy, and more. Interesting. So any company can just input whatever they want to on any informational profile about them also. Care Bear and also the $5. I love how Carlos is doing basically exactly what we want him to do. Conscientious that he can't work with a busted arm and he's getting screwed for it. Yeah, that's it. Literally, after that's cyberpunk, baby.
If I took one step on site with uninsured tech, forget the fines, I'd lose the down payment and my arm. And I'd never work in this city again. If this was the last quarter, maybe I could have worked something out with management, but like I said, no one is sticking their neck out for anyone now that Long's in deep hot shit.
You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain?
Pain will come and go. It's the itch that'll kill you. And the phantoms come back pretty fast when I don't have anything.
I mean, that one seems pretty self-explanatory. Yep. Pain or discomfort that the brain experiences is coming from an amputated part of the body. When stimuli stops coming from a part of the body that is no longer there, the areas of the nervous system that were previously devoted to processing those sensations reconfigure themselves to still be of use. Occasionally, the brain mistakes this new sensory processing as still being associated with pain or sensation from the amputated limb. Because of the large mental element at play, therapy for phantom pain reduction necessarily involves psychological conditioning and often the use of prosthetics. Phantom pain has become more widely experienced and understood as a result of the spread of body modification movement. Debate over whether the modern scene has increased or decreased public empathy for amputees and the disabled remains contentious. Did you mean phantom visions? Phantom visions are caused by faulty insulation or cybernetic eye mods resulting in periodic electrical discharge across the retina. Schedule a consultation immediately if you suspect this applies to you. User also frequently search for my mod hurts, modder itching. Is my arm haunted? And yeah, phantom pains are real, but it is an interesting bit of world building to see that, like, there's a bit of a desensitization to the phenomenon as it becomes more widespread.
Arm-shaped attached to me.
Didn't they give you something to, well, wear in the meantime? Something that clinics lend out for cases like these?
But they gave me a dead weight, 3-jointed landfill bait piece of shit. Sorry, it's a very shitty feeling, having a part of your body that you know they cut corners on. It fits, it's compatible. Technically, I can slot it in and feel on balance again, but the fingers don't even bend and the quick twitch motors are way off. It's like walking around with your arm asleep or dead.
So, were you wearing it when you were arrested? Were you wearing it when you were arrested?
No, I wasn't. But I'm pretty sure I saw the police bagging it as evidence, so can't have gotten too far.
Yeah, let's look at... Okay, so... Yeah, there's this, and then there's the rental, which, yeah, that does look like a cheap piece of shit.
So Detective Reyes was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm only, because at the time in question, he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up about as well as can be expected. But this has all just been a warm-up, for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. How long did you two know each other?
Right. I've known her since college. We shared a few classes, some mutual friends, always got along. Eventually, we just got together at some point. Guess I never actually asked her out the real formal way. Sounds pretty cowardly saying that out loud. Diane, she was in genetics, focused her studies on agriculture.
It always takes them a few tries to get used to using past tense.
Just finished her post-grad work this year. Got hired right out of the gate. Practically headhunted. You believe that? Practically headhunted. Of course she was. Any company'd be lucky to have her. And it was a real-ass job. Paid real-ass money, too.
So her career was starting to pan out. But as yours had fallen into the mother of all slums. Where was she hired?
Pedigree? No. Peregree Laboratories. I say that like the name matters. The whole setup's under Harco's umbrella.
That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows a third of the soybeans and corn in the entire country. One plant that size, the lab wouldn't need any others. Now, no corporation earns the mega prefix without a little throat cutting, but Harco is about as tame as big businesses can get. Predictable like the seasons, no one's gonna buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job?
Yeah, they loved having her there.
She never mentioned arguments or disputes? Corporate politics getting rough?
I don't think so. Not like I've been a good listener lately. But I never got the impression that Look, no one I know could do this to her. And there's nothing she could have done that would deserve what happened to her.
It was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle the detective's suspicions. I'll have to disprove their arguments entirely. Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful.
It was?
Now I'd like you to try and tell me whatever you can about what happened tonight.
Oh.
Start at the beginning and take your time. The details are important.
Alright, Miss...
Morgan.
I'll try Morgan.
When you're ready.
We were... arguing. We'd been arguing a lot lately. Arguing about this stupid stuff. I haven't been working, haven't been making money, I haven't been pulling my weight. I was mad at myself. But more than that, I was jealous of her. Jealous over nothing. Jealous over goddamn money.
The reports say you were arguing around 8 p.m.
8? Yeah, must have been when we started. We got into it and I said a lot of things that I shouldn't have. And I said one thing that I really, really shouldn't have. I crossed a line and we both knew it, so I left.
You left?
Yeah, walked out the front door. Thought some fresh air might help cool me off. Help me figure out what to say to make it up to her. Of course, the air wasn't fresh, just humid. Thick like mud. And while I was pissing away the time, Diane was...
Did you bring your phone with you? Or any other electronics?
No. I kinda stormed off. Didn't even take my key fobs. Didn't even lock the door behind me.
With optics down, traffic and street level cameras won't help him. That leaves... Did you go through a checkpoint or talk to anybody with modded eyes? Did you buy anything, cash or credit?
No, not even a vending machine.
Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How can anyone be this unlucky? That's quite unfortunate.
I just wanted quiet at the time. Wanted to wallow in it, really. Sorry I don't have all the details quite right. My head is... But if my exact route would help, the cam's probably... What? What is it? Optics was what? Can that even happen?
And there's no other proof that you were out at the time Diane was killed. Meaning you've got no alibi.
This isn't... This can't... listen, I didn't do this. I couldn't...
Carlos, I'm the one person you don't have to try and convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with.
Right.
Now, you said you left to clear your head. So what made you come back?
I came back because I heard a noise. A loud noise. Didn't know what it was. But it was loud and it scared me. And it came from the direction of our apartment. I was walking back at first. But at some point I must have started running because when I got back I was so out of breath. And when I saw that the front door was open, something dropped in my chest and my lungs went...
You live on the first floor, right?
Yeah, first floor apartment, street facing entrance. We were proud of that when we first moved in. Like it was some kind of big deal. From the hallway I saw her, but I didn't realize. I never thought that she was... The lights were off. The whole room was a mess. Thought we had been robbed or she had fallen or there was a broken glass, furniture knocked over. She was... I called her name and she didn't move. I checked her pulse and she was still warm. Blood was warm. And I saw the gun. Morgan.
The gun.
It looked so heavy, but I thought it had to be a fake because I didn't want it to be real.
Is that why you picked it up?
What? Pick it up? I didn't touch that thing. I didn't shoot her, damn it!
Doing what I do, you hear a lot of lies. White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies, bad lies especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie, but it can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but he's nervous and defensive, and none of this works if he doesn't trust me. If your clients notice that you don't know what you're talking about, they'll stop giving you any credit. You did touch the gun, Carlos. That's just a fact. Because... Yep, that's actually on the gun itself, right? Yes. There's fingerprints matching his left hand. It's a fact that your fingerprints are on that gun.
What? But I didn't do this. I wasn't thinking. I was just...
Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all.
Would you believe me if I said I didn't realize it was a gun?
That explains how his prints got on the gun, but not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, if all he did was hold the gun...
So stupid. I know what a gun looks like, but seeing it in my own home, right in front of...
You were in shock, Carlos. You still are. The police came in...
Oh, the police came in sometime after that. I don't remember much of what they said. Things started moving fast, it seemed like. The rest of my night went probably the way you'd expect.
Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you said you were surprised to see the room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying that you two never had a physical fight?
What? Physical? We never fought. We never fought like that. Did the police say that we did?
They assumed as much, which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting occurred. Considering what Carlos has told me, what else did they assume?
What is it?
I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene.
Oh.
It's an AR module built from the data taken as the police entered, so...
Right, it's just that.
It's just data, Carlos. No grisly details.
Okay. Let me see it.
Take your time.
Alright. I think I've got it.
That's how the police found things. Now close your eyes and think back to how the room looked when you left. Try and focus on what's out of place.
Alright.
I'll take notes. You just say whatever comes to mind.
I don't remember exactly where everything was. But, well, the mirror was upright, of course. And that clock was still on the wall. The chair got knocked over at some point, and the bed got tossed. The cushions torn. And the urn fell. Other than that... No, sorry. That's all that stands out to me.
I see. Like so? What's wrong? Something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up.
It's just, I guess I just assumed your notes would be making edits to the AR.
Well, I suppose that works too.
Sorry, I didn't mean... I think your drawing was pretty good, considering...
I'd like to change the subject now, Carla.
Just like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to say that. You don't have to kiss my ass. I know it's bad. Let's just get over it.
Right.
Let's talk about the letter that was found on your desk.
Letter? What do you mean?
I mean this letter here. Do you recognize it? Because the police are calling it a confession.
A confession? But this is just a note to self.
Pardon?
Look, when we fight, I lose my temper, say things I don't mean to. So this morning I tried writing things down so I'd have a script to stick to. So I could apologize to her instead of just fighting with her.
Carlos, you say in the note that you hurt them?
That's... I broke her fidget tubbies.
Her what? Her what?
Fidget tubbies. They're these collectible ceramic character things. They're supposed to be like tactile. You use them as paperweights or conversation starters.
Conversation starters?
She loved those little things. They're not worth a damn. You can buy them at any flea market or garage sale, but they meant a lot to her. And I broke them. I mean, I was pissy at the time, but that goddamn piece of shit rental arm. I hardly know where I'm swinging it half the time. Got so angry I just ripped it off and tossed it in my room. That cheap, dusty, worthless...
Okay. Let's say he did break her frigid duckies with his replacement arm. What does that change? Nothing at the moment. There's not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it. But if the police insist on claiming it's a confession for the heartbreak killings anyway... Couldn't even bother to sweep them up. I felt so... All right, Carlos. Thanks for answering my questions. Now I'm going to call the police back in here, and I'm going to get this cleared up for you.
What? That's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Although before I do that, I do have to ask, what do you know about the Heartbreak Killer?
Heartbreak? You mean that psycho that was trending all month? I mean, as much as anyone, I guess. I haven't been getting out much, but I'm sure everybody's on edge. Guy like that out there. He shoots people through the heart, right?
The police have kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news sources. So unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend.
I mean, she was shot in the chest, but that doesn't mean anything, does it?
If he's this slow on the uptake, it's gonna be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. I'll just have to squash that theory as quickly and definitively as possible.
I didn't realize you could smoke in here.
Technically, I can smoke wherever I want. For a fee.
Oh my god.
I guess so.
Nervous? Don't be. I'm the one who's on the clock.
Right. I'm sure this isn't your first time doing this.
No, of course not. It'll be my first homicide defense, though.
Oh.
Why does everyone always think the first time is so goddamn important? Hey, cheer up. I've got relevant experience in other areas.
Oh. And, what areas are those?
Gene Pop 45 with the $5. I was in that date transition. the Tengen voice.
I was in that date transition.
You ever gamble, Carlos?
No, ma'am. I never go anywhere near loot boxes. Won't touch the stuff.
I meant more like playing cards.
Oh. Well then, no to that too. I've actually got pretty terrible luck.
Could have fooled me. Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing but crap all night long, you can still win. Which makes things pretty fun.
Okay, so, do you have a good poker face?
I like to think so.
And are you lucky?
Only when the stakes are high.
And, in this metaphor, we're playing poker, and the state is the dealer?
If only. No, the state is more like the house.
You mean like the house always wins?
Yes, they're very good at it. Winning, I mean. That's why they're up there and we're down here. That's why they're the house.
So what do we do?
God, I love the sound design of this game. It's so good.
We play the cards we're dealt, as best as we can. Win more hands than we lose. Keep it up, and eventually, someone will come over and tap the dealer on the shoulder and whisper something in their ear. And then we'll be politely asked to leave.
That doesn't sound very triumphant.
The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose.
Thanks, Morgan. But I guess I was more asking, like, what should I say?
Just leave all the talking to me.
So that's the strategy. What's up?
You know there's a saying about gamblers with strategy? Yo, ready to confess yet? Cause I already woke up the DA. Already? She must be new. She must be new. The district attorneys have final say on whether a case is brought to trial. Only fair, since they're the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them prefer simple guilty pleas over long, protracted trials. And they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately, then you'll have to call them back, because my client is not guilty. And frankly, I'm not even sure you have enough to hold him here.
Right! What she said.
You've got a weird sense of humor, counselor. Different generations, I guess. Before my time kind of thing. I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocence, detective.
Counselor, we have your client's written confession.
His written confession. Let's start there.
Okay,
We'll be happy to. The thrust of every argument starts with the facts. What's already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table. It's pretty simple, counselor. Real paint by the numbers stuff. See, we found a note at his apartment, with his fingerprints on it. apologizing for how he hurt them all so bad. Now, how are you planning on spinning that? Those are the facts, but I've been building up my hand all night, and now I've got the weapons to answer anything they try and throw at me. Well, my client did write that note, and it was an apology, but not for murder. It was apologizing for... Analyze the facts as they're laid out, then thumb through the responses in your hand. Drag and drop the cards that best answer the arguments into the slot on the right. You can mouse over your opponent's portrait for a reminder on what key point you're answering. Okay, very cool. He was simply apologizing for this. The hell is that? I found myself asking that same question.
What are we looking at here? Something from the crime scene?
This diagram of the room, it's created from the data you captured, right?
Pure, non-GMO augmented reality crime scene data, yeah.
What's non-GMO?
Not much these days.
Notice anything out of place? Yeah, the whole room is full of busted shit. It's the scene of a murder. Full of busted shit for sure, but I was more referring to the unidentified ceramic debris found in the western side of the room. The hell is that?
Ceramic debris, huh? Must be from the vase that got tossed.
Actually, that's not possible.
Oh?
Because that vase was not damaged. It's not possible for that debris to have come from the vase, because that vase is still pristine.
How is that possible?
It was lagging a little bit.
The lady at that garage sale told me it was so old and delicate. Damn it. The one time I try and thrift shop on my own.
Well, so what? What does it even matter?
If the vase doesn't have a scratch on it.
Then the debris must have come from somewhere else. That debris is what my client wrote that apology over. You're saying that confession was his apology for not vacuuming? I am, because that pile of rubble is all that remains of the victim's collection of fidget
tubbies.
What he said. Mr. Flapp broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident, and this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology.
Can you prove that?
We're taking this seriously? As much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that my client wrote that note. And we can all plainly see that there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't have come from the vase, it must have come from the collectibles. Simple, right? The hell are you on about? The entire room was trashed, and the arcs clearly shows. Those fidget tubbies must have gotten pulverized during the struggle, too. You really gonna claim he sat down to write an apology for breaking her toys after gunning her down? Jam, thank you for renewing your channel membership. Not a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No, those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that, and there's proof. Yeah, because it was done with the rental arm. Just take a closer look at the rental you took into custody. Huh? One swipe of your finger should show exactly how devastating it was to the fickle buddy ecosystem. It's fidget tubbies. Whatever. You did take it into custody. I'm sure your techs found ceramic debris on it, yes?
Now that you mention it.
Fine, whatever. He broke them with his arm. While he was killing her. Happy? Overjoyed, because...
Because even a cheap arm's got an operating system that had logged the last time it was worn, right?
Right.
See, I happened to spot a footnote on the lab report said the rental hadn't been used since the AM.
Whose side are you on, old man?
It's gotten pretty late, Sunshine. Just trying to save us all some time where I can.
Well, thank you for your service. Well, thank you for your service. Are you seriously buying this crap? Just look at how scrawled, how panicked that note is. You expect me to believe he was that upset over a fidget tubby collection? And that he hasn't even been graded? Setting aside Detective Reyes' surprising depth of knowledge when it comes to collectibles, you're correct, they hold no real monetary value. It would be odd for Carlos to be shaken over their loss. But so what? So what? After all, that's not panic you're seeing on that page. No, the only reason the note looks that way is because Carlos is right-handed. Because Carlos is right-handed.
Yes, I am. Did they not know that? Shouldn't that be on my permanent record or something?
So the reason why that note looks like asylum wall scribbles is just because he had to use his left hand to write it.
I tend to think better while writing than typing. And I need to get used to using my left hand anyway. I just thought it could be good practice. Taking that into account alongside the ceramics.
Your slam dunk confession is looking about as watertight as a fishnet. Okay, fine. Forget about the confession. Congratulations, counselor. You've established that your client is remorseless. Now let's get back to the reality of the situation. Here are the facts. We found your client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood, right next to a big old goddamn gun that just so happened to have his fingerprints on it. That's right. That coat is... What, you're gonna claim it's not his, that he actually wears an extra small? Just trying to bait me. In her typical low-key fashion. As the arguments flow, you won't always have the stronger hand. Sometimes the best you can do is hold your tongue and avoid overcommitting. Try to lose as little credit as possible while you wait for a more favorable chance. She must have something. No sense playing into it. Something you'd like to ask me, Detective? I'm just curious. What it'll be next. You gonna tell me he actually wears an extra small? Gee, Carlos, do you?
No.
Yeah. Yeah? Sure there's no evil twin you've forgotten to mention?
There is no evil twin.
No, I'm afraid not. Not even gonna go for a mysterious third party at the scene of the crime? To prove his innocence, I will need to get there eventually. But going there now without hard evidence? I can't prove a third party. I have no evidence of a third person at this time. Damn right you don't. It's clear as day in the arcs. No evidence of anyone but Carlos being there that night. So keep dreaming. It was obvious she had something there. I wasn't gonna win that hand either way. But at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. We're not contesting any of that, Detective.
That's a very cool mechanic. I really like that. That's like a very nice variation. Care Bear also the $5. I love Justice/Blind being a pun on putting up a blind to stay in the game, and her doing the check tap when she stays. I love Balatro Woman. No, it's a really fun framing device.
My client freely admits to holding that gun. He picked it up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene, which was not smart.
Hey.
But not illegal either.
And
that's all? He had her blood all over his clothes. Yes, he did.
Right.
Do you have all those clothes on hand, by the way?
The lab finished with them a while ago.
What are you getting at? It'll be easier to just show you. Would you mind getting them for me? You know what? Sure. I could use the fresh air. It's a bullshit in here anyway.
And here I thought the room smelled like... Psst, Morgan. What are you doing? My coat is covered in her blood. I remember that much. So doesn't that, make me look really bad?
Just relax, Carlos.
I'm pretty sure that's impossible.
You're innocent. And that means that having much more evidence will always help you, not hurt you.
Really?
Really. Not really. Plenty of innocent people in prison. People with bad luck. Or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easy. More often than not, it takes coaxing.
What was it that reminded me of?
Alright, here it is. One bloodstained jacket, fresh from the lab. So what's your angle? You gonna tell us this is actually just hot sauce? No. That would be silly.
She's actually thought it over.
So what the hell is your point? Hey. Sorry, just got thrown off by the turn of good fortune. What good fortune? You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart, by a gun that happens to be an old-world, pre-tagging firearm. And so this coat proves he couldn't have been the shooter. Is there a gas leak in here? In what world does that make any sense? Sense happens to be key here. I just need to draw their attention to what they can. To what they can smell,
feel or see. Now, my guess is going to be smell because of gunpowder or something along those lines. So that's what I'm gonna go with. Just do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell. I don't smell anything except dried blood. Exactly, the coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of
cigarette. That's what I've been smelling.
Yes, Detective London, I was smoking earlier. Could you rejoin the conversation?
I've been listening. You wanted me to smell the jacket?
If you would.
Let's see. Huh. No gunpowder.
What? What about gunpowder? Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time. You can't be more than a few years older than me, but not before your partners, it seems. See, gunpowder is weak by today's standards, but it's still volatile stuff. Hard to store, prone to misfiring, and when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence. How is she talking about, London?
Modern firearms like the ones we carry use electricity, magnetism, even air pressure or sound waves. They've got more accuracy, more firepower, less recoil, less noise, and they don't leave behind any residue.
Gunpowder residue? You talked my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't leave digital traces, but a revolver like this one, it'd leave gunpowder on the skin of whoever fired it for days. So then his coat. If you don't trust your noses, you can check the lab reports. I think if they found any gunpowder on my client or his clothes, they'd have taken the time to highlight it. Well, whatever. That just means he washed off after shooting shooting her, or he changed his clothes. That's not impossible, but it would be pretty pointless. Huh? His jacket and his left hand were blood-soaked when your officers found him. Would he really go through all that effort to get rid of something as subtle as gunpowder residue, just to get the victim's blood all over himself afterwards? In light of these details, I'd like to formally request that you reconsider the charges Mr. Flatt is facing, as soon as possible.
Whoa.
They're faltering now. Should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them, but that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So if it looks like he never actually fired the gun, I'll admit, things were a little dicey there at times. But once I was able to grasp the situation, the smaller pieces fell into place easily enough. Not my cleanest work by far, but overall, I'd say. Did she get a message?
Wait, did they actually manage to find it?
Something you'd like to share, Detective Reyes? You're good. Twisting the truth into knots, making the facts work for you. Thanks. But your luck just ran out, because the net scrubbers found a cam active at the exact moment of the shooting, and right now, I'm staring at a photo of the killer. Want to bet? A photo of the shooter? If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's pulling this out of her ass. She's got something from the scrubbers. She must have something. She must be bluffing. Yeah, I think she definitely has something. I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish that there was an optics blackout during the shooting? Sure, there was. This isn't from optics. Good thing I held my tongue. As I thought, the scrubbers must have managed to dig up something from outside the network. Which means... Party's over. Party's over, counselor. Feast your eyes on this. Well, okay. The quality is... lacking. And yet, there it is. They managed to find a quarter needle of evidence in the whole city block of haystacks. What are the goddamn chances? Now, with the scale their tools operate on, I guess the chances are, as always, in their favor. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from the worst-case scenario I envisioned. You could even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are... well, it's a little bit...
blurry?
Don't look at me, I didn't take the damn thing. Technically, no one took it. Looks like at the time of the shooting, a neighbor was on their phone.
Probably venting about how crazy the couple across the way was acting. But if their phone was on, its camera would be on.
And so we managed to get this shot through the window. Where to begin? Far away, unfocused, ultra-low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, color shifted, and so compressed it looks like it's from another century. There are tools that could enhance this image any further, and I could count the pixels on one hand. And you could kiss its admissibility in court goodbye. You can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image, and there's no way in hell you could get this past a judge.
Yeah, you're probably right. We couldn't, but I think I know a DA that could. Either way, it doesn't seem like your client is leaving this police station anytime soon. That photo. What the hell is happening to me?
Think I know a DA that could? Don't be so modest, old man. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway at the same time the whole neighborhood heard a gunshot. And who do we know had their left-hand fingerprints all over that gun? You're referring to my client. You think? We've established that he wasn't wearing his modded arm at all tonight, so he must have shot with his left. Yes, and we've also established that he's weak with his left side. A left side that has no gunpowder whatsoever.
Forensics will never be perfect, counselor. Sometimes we miss things. Sometimes you take a walk through the rain, and when you finally get to where you were going, you somehow end up dry. But that doesn't mean it didn't rain. All of which is to say, before judge or jury, photographic evidence outweighs a failed sniff test.
Carlos is innocent. I know he is. But that photo shows the left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent. That photo is real. If both are true, then that means the photo doesn't show what it appears to show. So, at a loss for words? Never. I'm just confused about one thing. Where was this photo taken from exactly?
Hold on. So let's go through the new stuff real quick. I want to look at this specifically. Data recovered from an unknown citizen's phone camera at the time of the shooting. Because the camera was not set to photo mode at the time, the amount and quality of visual data available is severely limited. File markers for post-capture multi-spectrum image enhancements indicate the photo has been cleaned up as best as possible. Hold on, okay, wait. That's very specific. The fact that you can see the clock in the picture is notable. Okay. That looks accurate. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it hadn't been flipped. Okay, anywho.
Exactly. Positional data is usually only accurate to the nearest public router. If we DN on the phone's owner and ask them where.
Oh, was it not next to the door? Sorry, did I misinterpret that? Was I supposed to interpret that as the door?
Why bother with any of that? Ballistics and common sense tells us that the perp shot from the room's doorway. The front entrance of the apartment faces to the south. There's a hallway that runs back to the bedroom.
Oh yeah, the mirror! There is a mirror. That could factor in, definitely.
We're looking straight at the shooter, so it's pretty obvious that this was taken from across the north window. From the north? If this is from the north, then why can we clearly see the It's not that complicated. The neighbor who got the shot must live on the other side of the street. So we're looking into the bedroom from the north window. If she is wrong, I should seize on the opportunity to start turning the tide.
She's right, the photo was taken from the north. She's wrong, the photo was taken from the west. Okay, hold up. Northern window facing the southern hallway where the shooter stood shows the western window facing the eastern wall. The eastern wall.
afraid that's simply not possible, Detective. This photo has to have been taken from the west. What kind of bluff is that supposed to be? The good detectives are misinformed here, and I need to take advantage of it. Time to press the initiative. How do you mean this was taken from the west? The autopsy tells us the victim was shot from the doorway. Your officer's ARCS data tells us the precise location of everything in the room at the time they arrived. And now, your photo has shown us the exact moment of the shooting. And you can now raise the ante or hand up to the current facts. Answer wrong and you'll lose more credit, but answer correctly, and you can back up more credit for trickier hands down the line. That's fun. And altogether, that tells us that this photo must have been taken through the west window. As long as you consider... Okay, yep, it's this. Just take one look at the clock in the photo. The clock? What about it?
The clock, huh?
Seems like London's got an idea. If he's mistaken, I can pounce on it to keep my tempo high.
This photo was taken right before the shooting, so... Wait, don't tell me the time of death is wrong.
No. That's a good question, Detective London. But the answer is no. The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree. The time of death was 9 p.m.
Right. Yeah, no mistaking that.
So then what the hell were you on about? There's a clock on the wall in this photo, analog style, and it reads 9 o'clock. 9 p.m., the time of the shooting. The hell is so special about that? Nothing. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but... Do you remember there being a clock in the room?
What? Actually, I don't recall there being a clock.
That makes sense. You wouldn't recall seeing the clock. Because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor. And... the only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner, and my client has informed me that before the crime it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so. What the hell is that supposed to be? An artistic rendition.
It's, very distinct.
If you had information on how the crime scene was before the shooting, why didn't you just add that to the ARCS? I'll show you my hand. Just because discovery law compels us to share info, doesn't mean we have to play fair, Detective. Slipped my mind. I'll do that now. The important thing is that if the clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred...
Then this photo must be looking through the western window to see it.
Don't start getting ahead of yourself. The victim was shot at 9 p.m., the same time that this photo was taken of the shooter. But you want to claim that the clock is still on the eastern wall when it would have been knocked down during the fighting. You got your logic backwards, Detective. Your precious photo shows that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And there's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how the cards fell.
Sorry, what was the question again? I mean... yeah, I guess.
Glass shards, what about them? Nothing much, really. Only that they're on top of the victim's body. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yes. Okay, good point. If you hover over the opponent's face, it shows what their argument is. Okay, good to know for the future. And not under it. If the glass fell on top of the victim's body, that would mean that she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone trash the room afterwards?
It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, were there any signs of a struggle at the other crime scenes?
Other crime scenes? No, nothing like that. Those attacks would have been over in a matter of seconds.
So what did you think when you saw the mess in the bedroom? That this was personal and things had gotten complicated. Shit happens. Shit does happen, detective. But in this case, it seems there's been a general misconception about the order in which shit happened. So what if the room didn't get tossed over until afterward? So what if the room didn't get tossed over until afterwards? He still shot her. And we have a photo right here. And I'm glad you do, Detective, because that photo proves my client's innocence. Huh? Proving that it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult, and maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. Thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that it couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger, because the man in that photo can't possibly be Carlos. Like hell it can't! The glass shards prove that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting, and we know that until the room was tossed, that clock was on the eastern wall, which means that this photo of the shooter was taken from the west. Back to this shit? That's impossible. The only hallway in that apartment runs from north to south. The only person with prints on the gun is your client. And the only fact that matters is that he used it to murder 6 innocent people. You're a very honest person, Detective. Excuse me? That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You played your cards too early, and now I can steal the pot right out from under you. You're right about the hallway's orientation. You're right about the prints. And this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo. What? What we're seeing is... What is that? You're trying the glass shards again? Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from? Yeah, sure, they came from a standing mirror. A mirror that at the time of the shooting stood across the room from the western window. But then, that would mean...
At that angle, from that viewpoint.
It would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun in their left hand. We're seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And as we all know, my client hasn't had a working right arm in a number of weeks. And he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad that it was recovered, because it just proved that my client couldn't possibly have committed this crime. That should be the end of it. Except it looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Sunk cost has got its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot palms kind of fever. The impotent, irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. Got lucky for you, Detective. I'm well versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes. That's one word for it. Then allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend, and arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't find. After being confronted with these facts, you received photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting. And instead of utilizing said photo to track down the real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client, a man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway. He could have had a backup arm. He could have stolen one! A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fangs. A bit. Oh yeah, the music got kinda loud. Turn it down some. That's the best you've got. Even a bare-bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to an individual's nervous system. He'd have to bring it down to a clinic, which would have left a record on his shoulder OS. A record you won't find. And he'd have to somehow have gotten rid of it before the police arrived. SOP at the scene of a violent crime calls for full-spectrum scanning of the entire building and 100 meters around it, minimum. So where, Detective Reyes, did he manage to hide a cybernetic arm from your drones in the time before the shooting and his arrest? Well...
Any objections? Detective?
God damn it!
Show me your hand, Flat. You're uncuffing me? In light of the evidence, we have no reason to hold you.
Now I gotta go call the DA and tell her I made a mistake.
No, we made a mistake, huh? Listen, kid. You should know.
Detective?
Lost my train of thought. But hey, your attorney is a real tiger, and she just fought like hell for you. Make sure you thank her properly. Public defense doesn't pay that well. Yeah.
That's kind of you to say, Detective. But my work is its own reward.
Sure. I feel exactly the same, Counselor. What happens now?
I'll have to speak with the DA about the dismissal. And there's still some paperwork we'll need to go through. But basically, you're free to go. Congrats. You get to leave the casino with your kneecaps intact.
Yay? But what am I supposed to do?
The detectives will continue their investigation.
Their investigation into Heartbreak, huh?
Yes. When the authorities are satisfied with their examination of the body, she'll be handed over to the next of kin. And then you can make funeral arrangements.
No, that's not what Diane being gone is bad enough. But a serial killer? It's like she died of the flu. It doesn't happen anymore.
People die of the flu all the time, but I know what you mean.
I can't make sense of it. So what am I supposed to do?
Hell if I know. There are some contacts I could give you. The services, professionals, doctors.
No, you've done more than enough for me. When you got here, I was too tired to even defend myself. To try and convince them that I didn't. You saved me. Thank you.
You're welcome, Carlos. But it's my job to...
No, I mean, thank you for not asking. For not asking if I killed her.
Oh, Carlos. I didn't need to ask. I knew you were innocent from the start. Of course he was. After all.
What? Huh?
The blood's always different. Heart's always in the same place. Easy to find, hard to miss.
Care Bear and Ross with the $2 smiley face. Wait, what? What? What the fuck?
But the blood's always different. A flowering stain unfurling towards an invisible sun. A perfectly unique bloom. Only one for each of us. A Rorschach test with a singular universal meaning. Vitality at its climax. Bursting forth into a red fractal consisting solely of an infinite the end. But the comical thud of a body hitting the floor has its own kind of lowbrow appeal.
What the fuck? Jim Pop 45 with the $5. Shot in the heart and I'm to blame. I give love a bad name. I'm a little upset that that song has come up on this channel several times at this point.
Bullet number 666. The gun is empty. It's useless to me now. May as well leave it. Feels like a waste, but...
I'll turn this down just a tiny bit. Zoe with the $2. In your words, I like evil women. I mean, yeah, I sure do. Care Bear and Ross with the $2. You know how AA cases open with seeing the killer? Well, god damn, dude.
Whatever. Finding the ammo was almost enough of a hassle to outweigh the advantages.
Yo! Holy shit. That's fucking crazy. Cannot carry a tune, that's funny.
I could sell an untagged gun for a fair bit of cash. But cash can't buy you peace of mind. No, don't look so surprised, lady. Loping around in the dark here must have only been able to see my silhouette.
Wait, that was... yeah, okay.
Did she think I was her boyfriend back for an encore of that enthralling conversation? Can't ask her now.
Hey! Oh, yeah, hold on.
Yeah, did you hear that?
These old pieces are so goddamn loud. And people aren't even familiar enough with the sound anymore to know to run the other way. Probably roused half the neighborhood. But I didn't see anything I could even use as a partial suppressor on the way in. They really not afford some throw pillows? I used the other 5 bullets in outdoor spaces, and small spheres of blind opportunity that the city's eyes couldn't think to pierce. Cramped places, usually full of trash. But this room, as cheap as it looks, is at least clean, organized even. So the corpse adds a certain satisfying contrast. Except, there's shit on the floor. By the window, there are broken pieces of something fragile and tacky. It's fine. It's just one thing out of place. Actually, that's not fine. It's actually really irritating. I kick over the stupid goddamn mirror. 5% crime scene. 5 perfect crime scenes. Each of them, not a speck of evidence, nothing to go on. And for the final shot, there just has to be some pile of shit in the corner ruining everything. I kick the wall. Something falls from it. Probably more tasteless bullshit. I toss over the chair, knock the urn, tear into the sheets with my frustration, and try to savor the shedding. If it can't be cleaned, I'll just have to lean into the messy angle. At least it will be consistent. This was all so stupid. Honestly, I'm not the ego-driven type. In fact, I pride myself on my humility. Now, was it satisfying when the first three went down with single shots? Yes. But so what? I'm not made of stone. After that, I did start to actively aim for the heart, but... heartbreak killer? Really? Don't people have anything better to do with their time? What kind of miserable, lifeless voyeurs would obsess over something that's none of their business? All of the threads and breakdowns and the goddamn theory crafting, and all for the heartbreak killer. Sounds like a soap opera villain, from a season where the writers were on strike. I feel insulted by the label, but no, that's someone else's name. They came up with it. They spread it. They marketed it. Heartbreak's got nothing to do with me. He's just some reclusive, lonely, socially impotent loser who shot 6 people because... well, I'm sure people will come up with something. That he got rejected one too many times or whatever. Me? I killed those people because I saw them and I wanted to. And I've killed a lot more than just 6. At least the room is thoroughly trashed now. If I had just walked away after seeing that mess by the window, it would have irritated me to no end. And now that it doesn't match the MO of the last 5 perfectly, it'll irritate the cops to no end instead. Good riddance, Heartbreak. You enjoy your 15 minutes in the spotlight. Really savor it. I'm going home. Definitely Pyro with the 6 euros. I love Morgan so much. She's so messed up. The hook is so good. I was totally on board at this point. No, I am totally 150% with you. This is so fucking insane. I genuinely did not expect this at all. But I am so interested in her now. Like, I already loved her before this point. But now that they've done this reveal, I am, like, even more intrigued at, like, what the fuck is with her. I want to know what's going on here. Writer for Life 724 with the $5. I will say I love to remind students all the time that any character could be an unreliable narrator. I should have taken that advice to heart here. I mean, yeah, well, I'd be careful about taking things to heart around here, but yeah, yep. The air is weighty tonight, thick. Energized. A heavily foreshadowed summer rain I can feel on every hair. They call this kind of humidity oppressive, but I disagree. The warm tension on your skin, like in those short moments just after the shower turns off, when the steam lingers. Yeah, it's always most comfortable right afterwards. Maybe there's no disagreement to be had. Oppressive things can be comforting too. Only the guilty ones run. I don't know about that, but I know I've never felt guilty about any of this. And I walk.
Sorry, using my left is still...
That's okay. You can just initial in those spots. I took a scenic route home, courtesy of our fine city's sprawling public transportation, and got in a bit after 11 p.m. Had myself a thorough shower, drank a glass of milk, did some stretching, made sure my phone was on. Time went by evenly. Around 1:40 a.m. a posting for public defender work came up. Decent rate since it was so late and so urgent. I had wagered correctly that the boyfriend would have enough sense to ask for a lawyer and enough debt that he'd need to be provided one. A gambler with a system must be, to a lesser or greater extent, insane. George Augustus Sella, journalist, 1828 to 1895. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Oh my god, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, stage lights. I did not read much about the, like, on the Steam page itself, so I'm glad I didn't do that. Oh, that's so fucking cool. All I had to do was stay awake. There wasn't much competition after 1 in the morning.
Okay, where else?
Here. And here. How did I phrase it earlier? Criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. Why wouldn't I take on a job where I already knew more than the cops? It would have been easy to convince Carlos to plead out. I would have gotten paid the same too. But easy is dangerous. Carlos was, of course, innocent, so his conviction would never be airtight. There would be doubts, questions, appeals, maybe even fans, depending on his looks. More attention on HK and his crimes. More headaches. A cold case rotting in the very far back of the public's awareness is always preferable to one open and shut in haste. Now with no more murders matching HK's MO, there won't be any additional public pressure to find a culprit. Now Heartbreak can just starve to death, out of sight and mind like any other fluke in the system. Almost done. Getting involved with the case this intimately does have its risks. Hell, I might have even overdone things here or there. Like lighting up a smoke inside an interrogation room just to make sure, doubly sure I didn't still smell of gunpowder myself. Motherfucker! Part of me kind of almost, like, didn't quite think about that, but almost kind of thought about it a little bit, but fucking god. That London fellow seemed more fixated on it than I would have liked. But obviously everything turned out rosy. And it's worth it for the finality of it all. Seeing the authorities falling from the best scene in the house. Failings from the best scene in the house. That's just a bonus.
Thanks again, Morgan. For everything. I'm sure Diane is grateful too.
Funny. I didn't even know her name. Something the matter?
No, sorry, it's just... I was mad when I left the apartment. I know she was mad. I know she was too. So when she died...
Death was instantaneous, Carlos. I can't imagine that she was in any pain. In fact, I can guarantee she was dead before she hit the ground.
No, I know, but I just kept thinking that she must have died angry at me. That she must have died hating me.
To tell you the truth, Carlos, there's something I've been wondering about myself.
What is it?
Something I noticed in the ARC's data that I didn't quite understand. A piece of the puzzle I couldn't fit in anywhere else. But maybe you can make sense of it.
What is that? Where did you find that?
That pill organizer was found on the victim. She had it grasped in her hand when she died. Obviously, the police added it to the ARCs, but it was quickly ruled irrelevant. Seems like it contained triprexazone, prescribed to help some modders with phantom itches. They're small tablets, and those are tricky clasps, too, for a pill organizer. Could be hard to handle with an unsteady hand. No one will ever know what she was feeling when she died. Even if they did, feelings are complicated. You can feel angry, happy, and sad all at the same time. But as far as facts are concerned, it would appear that when she died, what she was doing was setting out your medications for the week. To my eyes, anyway. Long night. That was too far just now. Practically rubbing it in his face. It's not like I care about his feelings. I doubt I'll even ever see him again. But overstepping like that is pure hubris. And hubris invites a downfall. So why? Why did I even bother? It was the last piece of the puzzle, I suppose. I'll just need to show more restraint next time. Though there won't be a next time for heartbreak. The gun's in custody. There's no more bullets left. There won't be a seventh victim. There won't be any more leads to pursue. The media will move on to their next obsession. I'll move on to the next MO. And no one will even... Found you. Oh? Hold on, did I miss... Did I cut that up? Yeah, okay. No, no one will ever. Found you. District Attorney Rockford. Sorry, can I try that again? I'm so fried. By all means. Counselor Morgan, morning, noon, or night, you're always so put together. Thank you. I don't get it. How do you sleep at night? Pardon? You do white noise? Aromatherapy? Whatever you're doing, I need to steal it. God, I must have bags under my eyes dark enough for the dumpsters. Assistant District Attorney Emma Rockford. She's a prosecutor, the lawyer who argues for the state in court, trying to prove a defendant's guilt. And despite her sometimes unkempt appearance, she's probably the sharpest person to fill the position in decades. I should know, since I haven't beaten her once. Worse yet, she has the remarkable ability to compartmentalize all that adversarial energy and only bring it out in the courtroom. It's part of what makes her good at her job, and hard for me to read. Should I buy a new mattress? What have they got you doing at this ungodly hour, Emma? Oh, a nearly Valentine's Day, baby. Eggs Benedict. You know, I actually have not ever, I had never had, Eggs Benedict before literally just yesterday. Yes, just yesterday. That was the first time I ever did. It was good. Oh, well, actually I'm here for you. Me? Your client was a suspect in the Heartbreak killings. That's my case. Well, then you must have been relieved finding out that you won't have to go to trial against me. No? Why would I be worried about going up against you? It's always the unintended barbs with her. So, you're working with those detectives? Yeah, London and the new girl. Reyes. They've been reporting to me in preparation for the trial. Preparation for the trial? That seems ambitious. I guess they gave you the rundown. They've been doing everything they can, but it's hard to catch a killer who leaves behind so little. It's hard to kill while leaving so little behind. So, Reyes told you that they HK in custody and you popped out of bed all excited to run down here? Hardly. I haven't slept in 40 hours. Too much on my mind. So when I heard about a case with a single female victim shot through the heart, yeah, my ears perked up. But that's about all. I mean, Carlos Flad, a serial killer? The same serial killer that smarted the state for weeks? She's not using his middle name. He was found with a murder weapon. But I can answer that in any number of ways.
I am actually thinking about this quite a bit. Let's just stick with the simple for now. That may be true, but then I glanced at the report. Oh, she's gonna cut me off. You glanced at it? No gunpowder residue on him or his clothes. Right. Too remorseful, too apologetic in that note. Whatever it was about. His dominant arm, modded, documented sensitivity issues. Never could have made shots that clean, not without getting close enough to leave scorch marks. Not to mention, he's too tall for the ballistic sentry angles, and probably too heavy not to leave imprints. She got all that from a glance. But I'm sure a competent lawyer like yourself pointed all that out the minute you walked in there. Of course. Worst part is, she's not even being sarcastic. Yeah, of course it couldn't have been him. Long-term relationship, physically imposing, argumentative, so not the type to bottle things up. He didn't match the profile. Profile? Yeah, Right, sorry, you've probably never heard of it. I know what a goddamn profile is. A profile is a reconstruction of a criminal's psychology based on evidence from their crimes. Care Bear and also the $2. I love Emma. She's so Sherlock-brained. I definitely get the L vibes. Trying to get your dating profile just right can be a full-time job. Let Valentine take the reign with our automated, secure, and confidential tools to put your better than best foot forward and put the sexy back into finding the right match. Not interested in sponsored search results? See further with the premium account. Fuck off. Kind of fallen out of fashion for the last few decades. Not much to guess about the why when 99 times out of 100 the who is caught on camera. Or before they even leave the house. I'd have to find some real fossils and oddballs to get advice on how to go about it, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. I'm gonna stick with the safer option right now. So this profiling, it's some kind of investigative technique? The theory is that a crime can tell you something about the nature of the person who committed it. Stabbing, overkill, points to passion, rage, lust. They probably knew their victim. Poisoning guns, meanwhile, suggests they can't overpower their victims physically. And there's the things you can assume about nearly all serial offenders. Childhood trauma, prior criminal record, few or no meaningful attachments. There's a lot of recurring themes in their stories. The detectives say that HK doesn't leave evidence. So how much can his crimes possibly tell you? That he's diligent, almost perfect. Highly intelligent, painstakingly organized, and with enough criminal connections to get his hands on an untagged firearm. It's rare to see her this animated outside of the courtroom. It's almost like she's enjoying herself. A sheltered house cat who's picked up the scent of a mouse for the first time. A lone wolf, educated, but all her playfully lethal instincts coming to life. Probably overqualified or undervalued. Though I'm not thrilled about the fact that in metaphor I would be the... Know what I mean? Definitely. And considering the marksmanship, the detective said that HK would have needed insider information on optics. So does that mean heartbreaks in law enforcement? Never in 10 billion years. Oh. Antisocial, independent, despises authority. That'd be like a stallion applying for a job in a merry-go-round. They'd be kicking kids in the head after the first full rotation. Right, that's exactly how I'd put it. There must be some connection to the police, though. Maybe secondary or tertiary. These types can't help but insert themselves. Insert themselves? I do not I don't do anything even resembling that. Wait, if HK is not a cop, how did they know about the blackout timing? Crime metastatistics analysis? Probably. Pardon? Take the emergency response times from across the city and map them out. Look for brief spikes and delays. Chart out the dips in. Sorry, technical, I know. But all the requisite data is publicly available. With a map, a spreadsheet, a calculator. Anyone could reverse engineer the timing if they wanted to. That is such an unpleasant thought, Emma.
Well, at least this heartbreak maniac will slow down now that he's lost his weapon. He didn't lose it, he chose to leave it behind. That tells me he's confident he can do just fine without it. And it just makes me even more certain that these aren't his only kills. Were there any other shootings with the same MO? No, not that I've found. Other victims that fit the description? No. But I'm not overly focused on the victims' appearances anyway. I mean, these 6 victims all look like each other, but they also look like a lot of people. That's true. Hell, they kinda look like me.
Oh my god.
Do they?
Sure. What, you don't see it? I hadn't thought about it. Point is, no one can kill that cleanly when it's their first time. Getting things that perfect takes practice. So I know that HK must have had a lot. I know that HK must have had a lot more than 6 occasions to practice, Morgan. And that's why I think heartbreak is a misnomer. Care Bear and Ross of the $2. I love Toxic Yuri. Me too. You got something catchier in mind? I just don't think shooting them in the heart has any particular significance. If anything, it's a testament to their accuracy and their cold-blooded efficiency. The best possible use of 6 untagged bullets. 6 kills guaranteed, no matter what kind of life support mods they were packing. Their real signature isn't the bullets or the gun, it's the perfection. That's hard to wrap your head around. I'm saying that these 6 murders were just a fluke, a slip-up, a mistake. Exactly, a mistake. They got too clean, too efficient, and now they've got the public's attention. It's no wonder they're so pissed. Are you talking about the crime scene? Yeah, probably threw the detectives for a loop, right? Jim Pop 45 with the $2. Damn, Morgan's been subconsciously killing her girlfriend. I'm sure it's fine. Based on what you've said, I don't blame them. Whoever trashed that room doesn't seem like the smooth operator you've been describing. On the contrary, I don't follow. This was the last bullet, their last shot. The other 5 were perfect. So if anything was out of place this time around, they must have thrown one hell of a temper tantrum. You make them sound like a child. Childish. And cowardly. And two-faced. Someone who hates to lose almost as much as they love to win. Very Death Note. Your profile tells you all that? That? No. That part's just... takes one to know one. So to summarize, you're looking for a cold-blooded, faceless perfectionist killer who you think has no persistent MO or victim type. In a city with an 8-digit population. Well, good luck. I don't need luck, I only need more information. Well, I'm sure the city would be happy to provide you with more resources. No, Morgan, I mean I need more crime scenes. Oh. Sad truth is, if Heartbreak walked away today, I'd never catch them. Only way my net narrows is if they keep piling up bodies. Not a very fair trade, is it? No, it isn't. But getting screwed over is a given. It's a deal with the devil. Fair enough. Okay, that rant was pretty morbid and detailed. I need to get out more, or sleep more. Or sleep less but harder. Think a higher thread count would help? Don't worry about it. I'm always happy to listen to you ramble. It's a lot more pleasant than having to face you in the courtroom. Sorry, but that's the adversarial process. So no hard feelings, yeah? No hard feelings. We're both just doing what we do. I could use a cup of coffee. How about you? Don't tempt me. If you fall asleep face first onto the table, I won't even take a picture. Okay. Just don't expect this to make a difference next time we're at each other's throats. Heartbreak won't claim any more victims. In 2 weeks, the media will have moved on to the next sensation, and the police will have moved on to cases they actually stand a chance of closing. It's what people do. But Emma is... different. She'll set it aside and work a dozen other cases, never bringing it up. but a private corner of that frustratingly sharp mind of hers will continue to whittle away at it. Never finishing, but never quitting either. So I can't afford to take my eyes off her. As long as that's the case, I may as well try to enjoy the view. Oh? Which means you're going to be living with my friend for a while.
For how long?
I'm sorry, I don't know. There's no need to look that upset over it.
My face barely moved.
It may as well have been a blatant pout from where I'm sitting. Yeah, like that.
This friend of yours, they're trustworthy?
Absolutely. In fact, I trust them more than anyone. Hey, come on, it'll be fun.
Really?
Really. Educational, too. I think you could stand to learn a lot from someone like Morgan.
Oh, God. Oh, that was such a good opener. Holy shit. This is so fucking good. I'm kind of obsessed, honestly. I really need to get to the next chapter, but I am probably going to keep it to just this one for this stream in particular. And we'll move on to episode 1 the next time we stream this, which will not be next Tuesday, but will be the Tuesday after.
You're the smartest person I know, Morgan, when it comes to people. Personally, I think it's cool to bring something that flawed into the world.
You're a criminal defense attorney. We're at the crime scene. I think I can guess what happens next.
Hold on, I'll get to those donations in just a second.
I've never stolen anything that wasn't already compromised.
Work hard and the company will have you all set for life. And after, too.
Can't tell you how many musicians I've seen screwed over by a big smile and a fat signing bonus.
So that's not just a lawyer job thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends, too? Compared to determining fault, determining cause of death is like a breath of fresh air. The company wheels don't stop spinning for anything.
Can't hope to keep this quiet for very long.
But it's a million times more likely than the alternative. That heartbreak could ever stop themselves from killing.
Father said that you owed him.
I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. But when I take a job, I never half-ass it.
An idle mind. Interesting. There's also some bonus interviews with some of the characters. Okay, cool. Anyway, read these real quick. Atropos is the $2. I was like, if anyone spoils you, they die. Very fair. Care Bear and Ross at the $10. Lesbian Death Note, but Elle is fucking clueless and is only saved by the fact the nanny state makes the opportunities to kill incredibly narrow and specific is such a solid premise. I'm so glad I wrecked you it. I am very, very excited for more of this. Results. 2 articles, 6 profiles, 18 key terms, 17 pieces of evidence, 30 credit earned. Congratulations, you finished episode 0 with 30 credit. You've also unlocked concept art and bonus scenarios based on your highest score for episode 0. You also have 30 remaining store credit to spend on phone charms and case colors based on the highest credit you finished this episode with. Fuck yeah, let's go, baby! Alright, let's go through the concept gallery. Actually, I won't click on them in depth right now because
on one hand, I'm sure somebody has gone through them on a stream or an upload or something, but usually with stuff like this, I like to think of this as like, this is something that the developer is putting in for you if you really put in the time, and I would prefer to just keep that to be like, you know, if you buy the game, you can look at these yourself. That's how I look at it. Anywho, bonus scenarios. London interview. Begin playback.
You want to interview me? It's very flattering, but aren't there more lively folks around here for you to question?
I'd considered that.
So I'm not your first choice.
You are the first one who hasn't walked away.
Come to think of it, I should probably...
So what are your 3 sizes?
Have you been opening with that?
Should I not? Do you have any pets?
Afraid not. Need 1 or 2. Or 3 promotions to afford that kind of thing.
Are pets that expensive?
Only if you care about them. Maybe if I found a place closer to the park.
Have you ever owned any automated dependents?
Not had the chance.
Would you own one if you could?
Maybe one of the little vacuum ones. Anything more complicated than that is...
If you find the owner's manual is intimidating, there are video-based tutorials I could show you to.
I'm not worried about the ease of use, don't worry. When I say complicated, I mean... It's like what I said about pets. Find a leave a goldfish in a tiny bowl. Time it takes to swim half a lap, it'll have forgotten what the first half looks like.
I loved your voice acting, by the way. Really added to the experience of the game. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, episode 0 is free. That's fair enough, but even so.
Not a very tall hierarchy of needs there. Easy to please. But a cat? A dog? I don't want to be at work thinking about how bored they are sitting at home. And today's ads are a lot smarter than dogs. About most things.
That's a very thoughtful perspective, Detective London.
It's a moot point anyway. I'd need to get hit by a city bus to afford any of the new stuff Noble is selling. No, you're thinking of the sheltered generation.
Sheltered as in sheltered upbringing?
Or shelter in place. There was a lot of uncertainty during their childhood. So when they grew up, they wanted surety, safety, stability. Wanted to know that their heat would stay on in the winter. And their politics reflected that. But that was all before my time. My generation is a little more, well, Generation Zen. That's what they called us in their think pieces. Even-tempered, mentally strong, and more than a little cynical.
You disagree?
It wasn't a matter of mindfulness, we just grew up without false expectations. Our vision wasn't clouded with illusions about impossibilities like home ownership or retirement. We realized early on that we'd be working right up until we'd,
Detective?
Unrealistic expectations. Some people call that hope. To see your friends, your classmates, drowning every day in that kind of mire. And then have to listen to people 3 times your age go on about how enlightened today's youths are. Gen Zen. It's not a name I'm particularly fond of.
So how long have you been in law enforcement?
Too long.
And how long have you been with the homicide department?
Not that long by comparison. Sorry, don't mean to be overly vague. If you really want to know, I spent the bulk of my career over in arson.
Was it different from homicide?
Flashier, I'd say. Everyone jokes that homicides solve themselves in a city with this many cameras. Meanwhile, fraud and disinfo are so entrenched in the tech arms race they barely come up for air. But arson really hasn't changed much in the modern era. Fire is still very good at destroying evidence. You can't expect the drone net to sweep into burnt rubble and bring your back out the culprit's fingerprints and driver's license. It's a lot of legwork, a lot of interviewing. And since more than half of the culprits were caught were burners helping Megs commit insurance fraud, we spent a lot of time making friends and enemies in high-rise corporate boardrooms.
Megs?
Just slang for mega corporations, which is also just slang.
At what size does a corporation become mega?
It's not really about gross revenue or how many countries you operate in. If you're big enough to crush people, you're a meg.
An apex predator among apex predators. Like the Odidus megalodon of the Myokine epoch.
Hey, that's... Wait, is that where it comes from?
So why are you working in the homicide department?
What's that?
Why did you leave arson?
The smoke.
The smoke?
Just got to a point where I couldn't stand the smell.
That's fun. That's fun. That's why he was very overly conscious about the cigarette, I imagine. Okay. Reyes next.
Okay, you can start now that my desktop is censored. So for the record, your full name is Pharaoh Reyes. And how is that pronounced? Like how I just said it? Reyes. Thank you. Your birthday is October 19th. And how do you take your coffee? She makes you fetch the coffee? Figures. Wait, let me guess. Counselor Morgan takes her coffee black. No, decaf, like a real psychopath. Decaf, yes. Sometimes with milk. Nice, that's even worse. And you, detective? With 2 sugars and a bottle of water. Now that I've got this. You mean, now that I've got this? You mean your eye? When did you have it modded? After I learned I was getting promoted to detective, and before I realized I was getting promoted to homicide. Do you regret it? No. Would have wanted it for work eventually, if it takes me a while longer to pay off than I expected. Well, I'm hardly the only person my age walking around with their debts socketed onto them. I see. What are your likes? My likes? Pretty broad ask, don't you think? In that case, perhaps you'd find it easier to describe your dislikes. Small plates. Oh. I hate that dinner by 1,000 cuts shit. I see. And I dislike cheap people, and liars, and lawyers. Lawyers? They're smug, prideful, they bill by the minute, greed personified, like their time is so goddamn important. And they're annoying, pale, and smug. Should I put down smug twice? So what do you like, detective? Do you have hobbies? Areas of interest? Well, automotive history, maybe. Oh, could you say more about that? I guess I could talk about it a little bit. The following section has been altered from its original format. It has been edited for time. Aquid, which was supposed to be a luxury version of a pickup truck, as if there's a market for that. It's so stupid, I love it, and Stachrome, purplish, bluish, chromish color. The copyright was so intense that just mixing the paint was illegal for... Naturally aspirated. Can you imagine? I see. Do you own a car yourself? You're joking, right? I'd rather eat asphalt than buy an EV with my hard-earned money.
God, I love... She's... fucking... I have friends who are, like, big, like, mechanics and car people, and trust me, if you don't know a person like that, this is literally exactly how they are. This is just an accurate depiction.
The following section has been altered. It has been edited for time, strong language, 4 rotors in a computer chip. That's not engineering, that's barely even programming it. As if acceleration was all that mattered. Any race longer than 2 seconds and simulated engine noise. Who in their right mind?
K. Roundhouse the $5. Reyes is that Zoomer who watched YouTube shorts her entire childhood and now can regurgitate facts just like this, but would never ever buy one ever. God.
I believe that fills out your dislike section. So, what is your favorite drink? Dark and stormy is pretty good. How do you make that? Ginger beer, rum, and a lot of lime juice. You putting together a recipe book or something? Who is your hero? Well, that one's easy. Detective Kasim London, of course. Oh. Should I relay your sentiments to him? I'm sure he'd love to hear them. Somehow I doubt that you'd get the tone right. Very well. In that case, what are your 3 sizes? My what? The measurements for your bust, waist, and... I'm not telling you that. Where the hell are you getting these questions from? I designed my interview process to extract all the same kinds of facts that are most commonly listed online. On what websites? Open source, collaborative, community-focused databases. You mean like a wiki? Would you prefer to skip this question? Tell you what, if you can find a single person who does answer that question, I'll give you mine down to the millimeter.
Carlos.
So this is like an offboarding thing? An exit interview?
Yes, it's like that.
Oh. Well, that's sweet of Morgan. Still worrying about me. How'd she know I'd be here?
She didn't. Why are you here?
Oh, hoping to get some of my some of my stuff that the police collected as evidence. Don't tell Morgan that, by the way.
Is there something embarrassing among what they seized?
No, it's just... I'm guessing as my lawyer... Is she still my lawyer? Well, as a lawyer, she'd probably know the exact right form to get this stuff back, but it's okay. I wanted to do this myself.
Why is that?
Conquering my fears, maybe? The last time I came here, I was dragged in, strong-armed. Everything was going by so fast, I barely spoke. I didn't stand up for myself. If I had been able to stop and think things through clearly, well, I could never have done what Morgan did, but maybe I wouldn't have gotten myself dug so deep.
It must be very upsetting, being accused of something so terrible. I'm sure you reacted just as well as anyone could be expected to.
Thanks. I think. My arm? No, it's not back yet. At this point, I might be better off getting an upgrade rather than waiting for my current model to get fixed.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, it is. It can't downgrade, can't trade in, can't opt out. But Hindi will let me upgrade any time.
Do you ever regret it? Getting modded?
Sometimes. But I have a lot of regrets. Compared to some of them, buyer's remorses.
How do you deal with your buyer's remorse?
Lately? Lately I've been lying face down on the floor and exhaling. Just for 30 seconds. I count to 30.
And do you feel better afterwards?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the protests, but I've never... there's a lot of pains being a modder. Making sense that people would have loud opinions, want them heard. But we all made a choice, all signed the papers. I guess that's just it, huh? Not all of us made the choice ourselves. I got modded to help my career. Didn't need to get modded just in order to have one. But a lot of people did and do. There was this guy, worked with us for 1 quarter. Probably a vet, but didn't want to talk about it, so none of us asked. Good coworker, very gung-ho, cheery as in a musclehead kind of way. It's a physical job, so there's no slouches, but he wasn't just fit, he was cut and handsome. So when he kept showing up to work with more and more mods, all of them cosmetic, I didn't get it. What's he missing? What's a guy like that want to change about himself? Got offended full-time at the end, got offered full-time at the end of the contract, but he said he needed something that paid better. Turns out he'd blown every paycheck at elective surgeons. Pal of mine in HR said he'd given his insurance info to 6 different clinics in the span of 4 weeks. Word is he wasn't even using the pain pills, sold them to some of the drivers for extra cash. That's the worst I've ever seen it. Grafting runaway or plastophilia or whatever they're calling it now. But it's not the only time I've seen it. It's not like there's no incentive for it. Because there are plenty of megs out there that see people hurting like that and think, there's an ideal worker. So you work for Morgan? And you're... wow. Lawyers must make more money than I realized. Wait, are you here to give me the bill? How much do I owe?
You don't owe her anything. Her services were paid for by the state. And I just happen to be forbidden from handling any financials. Due to an ongoing dispute about what constitutes essential office supplies.
I hear ya. Diane was always the money smart one. Pretty strict, actually. Unless she saw a fidget tubby on the shelf. You could see her eyes light up. Could hear her huffing like she just won the lottery. They're ugly cute, babe. And I would say, well, you're cute, babe. Believe it or not, she thought I was pretty suave.
I feel so bad for that poor dude. Alright. Morgan interview.
You're gonna interview You did say I need to practice asking better questions. But right now, because you said the police would be making us wait so they feel more important for the next 20 minutes. Is there some more productive way we could spend the time? I was planning on napping. For 20 minutes? In the lobby of a police precinct? I can fall asleep anywhere. It's one of my many hidden talents. You're gonna write all this down? Could you start with your name for the record? Morgan. And your first name? You should know by now that no one calls me by my first name. That's something you have control over. I wouldn't want to force the issue. How long has that been the case? As long as I care to remember. And what did your parents call you? The tumor. That was a joke. Oh. Maybe we should have started you off with someone a little more your speed. Who better to start with than you? Someone who likes talking about themselves. You seem to talk about yourself as much as anyone else does. Or more. I tell people things about myself, it's different. Because you're lying? Now you're getting it. It's not very polite to lie. On the contrary, telling the truth is usually rude. I'm not sure that your clients would appreciate that sentiment. We're not talking about my clients, we're talking about matters. We were supposed to be talking about you. Look, the sooner you learn this, the better. When people ask how you are, what you've been up to, they're not looking for anything nearly so heavy as the truth. They're just following the template. And the polite thing to do is for you to follow the template as well. Here, let's practice. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. Way too late. The whole point is to be on autopilot. Now you force them to grab the wheel, check their mirrors, and no one is ever grateful for the extra workload. You can be very cynical about these kinds of things at times. I'm just trying to teach. I'm just trying to tell you that people are fundamentally lazy. So if you want to be a social butterfly like me, try not to make them work too hard. Fundamentally lazy? Do you think people are fundamentally good too? Obviously. If they weren't, they wouldn't be so easy to trick. So are you planning on answering any of my questions about yourself? I've still got time to kill. Fire away. Will you be honest? I wouldn't want to be rude. When is your birthday? Wait, you're not trying to guess my passwords, are you? I would never commit identity fraud. Not the worst way of going about it, actually. It's December 26th. The 26th. That's almost Christmas. But almost Christmas means it's not Christmas.
Thank you.
Your insights are always so original. Did you receive your presents on your birthday or on Christmas? What do you mean? Did you not celebrate Christmas in your family? We did. So did your parents give you presents on the 25th or the 26th? Well, I got Christmas presents on Christmas, and I got birthday presents on my birthday. Obviously. Are all your questions going to be this strange? What is your favorite color? Are all your questions going to be this juvenile? If you prefer something weightier, do you volunteer? No. Do you donate? Yes. What causes you to do you donate towards? Endangered wildlife. What's with the face? It's on auto renewal, I just haven't canceled it yet. You've mentioned a mentor figure before. No way I ever called her a mentor. A busybody, maybe. World record holder from billable hours spent under the influence, perhaps? Or just, you know, the cougar from hell. If she had rubbed off on me in any way, I'd have hives. I see. Is she a smoker? Lastly, do you know your 3 sizes? I do. Would you tell me? That's private. You value your privacy very highly, don't you? More like everybody else doesn't value it enough. Water is rising, the whole world's getting smaller, literally. Less real estate to go around. And everything's connected to everything else. These days, just wanting some time or space to yourself is considered selfish, or worse. Only the guilty have something to hide. I don't like that phrase. Laws like the Mob Act have made it so anonymity and privacy are luxuries. Privileges reserved for the privileged. And if anybody below the tax bracket tries to claw away a little bit of it for themselves, well, it can only be because they're guilty, right? Is that why you became a criminal defense attorney? To defend people's innocence? That's private.
That was really good. I quite like those a lot. That was really interesting. Okay. So that is episode 0 in the bag. Also a cool new menu as well for episode 1. That was really, really good. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. I am very interested to learn more about all of these like both the characters we've already had introduced and the new ones that were previewed. Morgan especially is very compelling to me as a main character. There's a very cool dichotomy going on there. Oh man. Especially like thematically with like the sort of like balancing act between the sort of like mysterious criminality and also the like social commentary, where it's like sometimes you're like what the fuck is she doing, but at the same time, like at other times you're like, wait a minute, hold on, let her cook. Oh man. Yeah, I'm really fascinated by this. The art is really good. The writing is really good. The character voices, especially, like the conversational tone, I found it just very pleasing to read while I was reading it. Like, I don't know if it's just because I've been reading a lot of games recently that are translated, that have very literal translations, but reading something like this, I don't know, just like the conversational flow of the dialogue is so nice. Credit to the writer, Brian M. Brian M. Great writing. Yeah, but yeah, it's got a very good flow to it. Like, it's very, yes, exactly, like Poof said, you can't imagine real people speaking this way. And more than that too, like, it just has a nice like rhythm to how the conversations are conducted. Like when reading it out, like it comes very naturally to me, which is very like, I enjoy that quality in writing whenever I'm doing something like this, especially like when whenever I'm doing like fan voices for characters or whatever. It makes like cold reading, I guess, more enjoyable for me, and less like difficult to sort of wade through. Like, for example, something like, and this is not like a negative to the writing or anything at all, because that game had pretty good writing. But something like Danganronpa Another, which was translated and had like sort of a machine translation, that in particular, like reading that for a long period of time, like actively started to become like kind of tiring when I would do it for too long in one stream, because trying to like pick up on the structure of the dialogue and like try to figure out how everything should like sort of like bounce off of itself, I get, you know what I mean? Like I'm putting that in a very vague way, but you know, like it became a little bit like mentally taxing to work out. This is like, it's smooth as butter. It just rolls right over my brain. It's so nice. It's very cool. Also the fact that sometimes you have to claw meaning out of the machine translated dialogue. Exactly. Plus, I mean, like, obviously, things like prose are a lot easier to appreciate whenever you have something written out like this as well, that you don't have to like worry as much about that sort of thing. And the prose in this is really good. It very much absorbs that vibe perfectly of the sort of like detective noir, sort of like, you know, the flatfoot detective internal monologue. But it's, now that I know these things about Morgan's character, it makes it even more interesting, because it is like both kind of a mix of the sort of like I said, you know, the detective inner monologue, but it is also a mix of the like the machinations of like the serial kill. Like it's very like, I know like we've been comparing it a lot, but it is very like Light Yagami-esque in a way, which is even more fun, honestly. I really like that. Speaking of character writing for Morgan in particular, I think the reason why the twist hit so well when it came for me is because I really liked that they did things here and there to show that she is not like... It's not that she is incapable of showing emotion, or at the very least, like, understanding, like, other people's emotions. Like, she is very good at sort of, like, lulling you into the mood and sort of creating those, like, little scenarios where she can, you know, where she can express empathy. Yes, exactly. Her empathy is pragmatic, where she can, like, kind of work her way in and, like, do the subtle little, like, you know, like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. The thing where she shows Carlos the pill container thing and is like, you know, she was thinking about you and all that sort of stuff. It's very well done in that, like, as soon as the twist hit, I was so surprised because I was like, shit, she, like, completely wrapped me around her finger, because I thought that she was just as sincere as she was presenting herself to be. And I love that. That's so cool. There's an official list of character inspirations, and Morgan is explicitly inspired by Light Yagami, Toko Fujiwara, Genocider Sho, and Yoshikage Kira. Oh, Kira, that's... Ooh, okay. that tells me quite a bit. That's very interesting. Toko Fujiwara, though, I can't remember. Is that somebody that I know who that is? Hold up. Fujiwara. I don't think that I know this character. Yeah, I don't think I know. Oh, no. You're thinking of Fukawa. You're thinking of Toko Fukawa. Yeah, because Fujiwara brought up, like, some other thing that I was like, I have never seen this before in my life. But yeah, okay. I can definitely see the bits of influence there, although it is really funny, considering that obviously Morgan is a lot more of a smooth talker and a lot social is social is a word. I mean, she's more social than Fukawa, at least. But yeah, I can definitely see it though. It's very interesting. Okay, Steph, fun facts, the devs have a Game Jolt game called Model Employee that takes place in the same universe. I doubt the stories overlap, but in the in-game news ticker, there's mention of a Heartbreak Killer. Oh, that's interesting. I have to check that out at some point. Yeah, she's very capable of blending in. I honestly, outside, like, obviously I would say it's so far that, like, Morgan is probably my favorite character so far. And obviously I do quite like Emma. I'm not surprised to hear that she was inspired by Edgeworth and Elle. I am a little interested that she was inspired by Togami, though. I think my other favorite character, though, so far is Reyes. I really like Reyes a lot. I do love a scrappy, sort of, like, foul-mouthed, kind of, like, I fucking hate you kind of rival character. I know that, like, Emma is probably going to be more of the actual, like, enemy focus. But there's a lot of hate shipping between Morgan and Reyes. I figured there must be, because that was kind of what I was leaning towards while I was playing the game. I mean, I like Emma too, though, and I'm excited to see more of her and learn more about her. But Yeah, I do just like the more like directly confrontational, like I will fucking bite your head off kind of dynamic. It's very fun. Also, I do just quite like the sort of like, you know, uncovered robotic eye thing with like the little eye patch. It's very fun. Yeah, this was very, very cool. I'm super excited to see more of this. I'm actually a little sad that we have to take it in bi-weekly doses, because I kind of want to get to more of it sooner, but sad is how it is. That's just what I've done to myself. But like I said, next Tuesday we'll be having our first official stream of Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, so look forward to that. Again, I've never played the game before, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to be curious to see what my first time reactions to that are going to be. I'm very excited for that. You could just cheat. No, I wouldn't do that. This is supposed to be a blind playthrough. I'm supposed to be reacting to things for the first time, so I'll leave it as it's supposed to be. But regardless, I had a very good time with this. I don't think, since this is like a more of a, not like a one-off, but more of a like a less long-running series thing that I've been doing, I don't think there's probably gonna be any art in the tag today, but I will check it just in case. Nah, I promised I would do Spirit of Justice next week, so I'll keep it that way. Oh, there actually is some art. Let me get that up. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, yeah, it's just the one. So let's show that real quick, since there's just the one. Okay, so we have this one piece of art from Chiyoko at Chiyoko Arts on Blue Sky. For this stream, I drew this badass woman, Morgan Esquire. All lawyering is just gambling for her, isn't it? Oh boy, oh boy. Very, very good art, as always, Chiyoko. Should I say that I'm in love with this woman? I don't know if I should. I feel like I should have slightly more conflicting feelings about her, and I do. But, but I do quite love her. Also, this is very well done. Again, I must always remark upon how impressed I am with good clothing folds, especially with an outfit with like interesting design choices like this, like the little belt loops and like the little harnessing going on, which you did a very good job with. As always, you cook. And it's just very like interesting to see her in that slightly more like light, sort of like watercolory style, as opposed to the game's more like harsh, sort of like a jagged neon aesthetic. So very, very cool. It's okay, she only kills people who look like her girlfriend. You'll be safe. I mean, I don't know. You say that, but like, I mean, I wouldn't say that I look a shit ton like Emma, but I wouldn't say that I don't look like her at all in some ways. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I don't know if I don't know if I'm entirely safe. I would have to be careful about that. She's only killed 6 people who look like Emma. She's killed many more who don't. You know, fair point. So, I mean, you know, it's a 50-50. It's a coin flip. I'll just, you know, it might be worth trying. Oh, Jesus. Anywho, I had a really fun time with this. I'm very much looking forward to getting to more of this week after next. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next Tuesday for Ace Attorney. And then, I'll see you next Tuesday for Ace Attorney. I'll see you this Friday for more Higurashi. And the Friday after that as well. Been a great time. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.